So we've decided, after the abrupt ending, we'll go to the tea party.
What do you mean abrupt ending? You're gonna edit it together, aren't you?
That wasn't the plan, but now I have to. Yes, we're going tea party, and then question mark, and then we'll go back to the trick ending.
So we're back here.
The majestic witch of theatre-going, drama, and spectating set down her pen, looked at the ceiling, and sighed deeply. The desk was covered with a scattered mountain of paper covered with writing. Words were packed onto the pages in a thin, high information density language that only the great ones could read. Each letter of this language carried the same amount of information as several books in the human world. These letters filled every inch of this huge pile of paper. Surely she had written out every little detail of some world.
Yes, I have written it all. Though to be accurate, I have not truly written it all.
She stood up, sat down in her favorite rocking chair, and rocked peacefully for a while.
How far must one write before they can say they've written it all? This has been what has bothered me in all my years of writing. The adventures of humans can be very interesting as a tale. However, even I still don't know when that adventure stops being an adventure. My old friend, who is now gone, once said that a human's life is an adventure from beginning to end, so there is never a correct time to set down one's pen. I do not agree. I think one must put away the pen at some point. I believe one should write a tale to an appropriate point, then leave the aftertaste and opinions to the minds of the spectators. In short, the tale must be put inside a cat box at the appropriate time. The cat box has been the subject of this long tale, so is it not better to refrain from writing its demise, to instead put it in the cat box and leave it there?
Featherine spoke to no one inside the empty study. Of course, no one commented on her words. However, Featherine seemed to hear something. She nodded and grinned contentedly.
Yes, I know. I will write a bit further, then lay down my pen. Then it will be time for us to say our goodbyes.
Featherine held up a finger and spun it around, a signal that she wanted to darken the room. The lights in the study dimmed.
Would you mind letting me rest for a while? During that time, my cat, or rather, my Miko, will entertain you. I was wondering about this. Ow, 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 ow! You suck. Can you be less clumsy with that needle?
Shut up. If you don't want it sewn by hand, I'll use a sewing machine.
No machines. I want you to do it by hand. So please, just be a bit more gentle. Ow, ow!
It'll get better if you spit on it.
Yeah. Don't just start licking me all of a sudden.
I think this needle should be thick enough. This'll hurt like hell, so you better close your eyes. 5, 4, 3, 2.
Don't say that right before you start. I have to try to be quiet now because it's late.
That's fine. But despite all this, the two of them truly were close. Though Lambda Delta had been brutally dismembered in the final fight, she had survived. But, unfortunately, she was still dismembered. So Bernkastel was sewing her arms and head back on with a needle and thread. The left arm, which was still waiting to be reattached, walked around on the bed impatiently with its index and middle fingers. Only the arms were left to do, so it looked like this would be finished soon. Then Erica returned, slamming the door open. "I'm home, my master. I brought some sesame salt."
I knew we both knew it. Master. Why sesame salt? You aren't planning to put it in tea, are you?
"It's Erica's toy. Erica, did you bring your chopsticks?" "Yes, my master. Great detectives have their magnifying glasses. Furuto Erica has her chopsticks." "Are you ready? Pour out that sesame salt and use those chopsticks to separate the sesame seeds from the salt." "Yes, my master. Please watch my fantastic chopstick wielding skills." "Yeah, good luck. When you're done, make sure you put everything back in the bag."
This is a suspicious relationship they have.
She gets to show off.
It's not what I was thinking. Okay. Are you still bullying her like that?
How rude. I'm playing with her. Ah yes, Erica. The mailman just came by with a letter addressed to you. "A letter? I sent a crime calling to me. Don't tell me I'll guess who sent it." "The postmark is from heaven. It's probably from Dillinor or someone. I'm surprised you're still in touch. And just by the presence of this postmark, see how far Bernkastel's reasoning has taken her." "Hey! You can't do that, my master. Vandine's Ninth. It's forbidden to have multiple detectives." "Then you better get out. So long, great Detective Erica."
Oh my gosh, what have I done?
"My master, how could you? I'm Erica, Witch of Truth."
I still can't tell if you two like each other or hate each other.
"Of course we hate each other. You're the only one I love." "How could you, my master?" "Lady Lambda Delta, it looks like there's not enough room for the two of us."
Are you serious? Are you challenging the great Lambda Delta?
Erica grinned and grabbed Lambda Delta's left arm, which had been walking around the bed. "I have here Lady Lambda Delta's arm, and here is the sliced open end of her arm." Erica grinned and wiggled her fingers menacingly.
Wait, you aren't thinking.
"Let's see if my rival can handle this."
She's gonna tickle her, isn't she? Stop it, that tickles!
She tickled the inside of Lambda Delta's left arm. Apparently she was extremely ticklish, though. Incidentally, the opened end of Lambda Delta's arm had cute, fluffy, white cotton candy poking out. Apparently her body was made out of sweet candy with a bit of spice thrown in. Put your mind at ease, as there is nothing remotely terrifying about this scene. Erica ran around, screaming, "I've defeated Lady Lambda Delta, all by myself, just like my master." Lambda Delta growled and hissed at her. Bernkastel kept on sewing, an exasperated look on her face. It was a very peaceful scene. "So, what does the letter say?"
Anything about what Dylan and the others have been up to?
"Gertrude has been promoted to a full inquisitor or something. Well, good for her, yay. Ooh, in addition to her cat, she's got a meow woof. Oh, what is that? Meow woof now too." "What's a meow woof?"
What? You don't know? You're so out of touch. They've been all the rage lately. Even I got a female meow wolf a few days back. You can make awesome competitor with them too.
"I'm totally lost, but I'll make sure I stay far away from your homemade food in the future." Cornelia-san is. Ooh. During an Inquisitor exam, she found that she's really good at fighting, so she started combat training. Pretty hard to imagine her doing that, right?
Wait, there's all kinds of combat training. What's she doing?
It looks like kickboxing and Chinese kenpo. Can that be Ava's influence? I'll bet she'd fight pretty good standing on one leg.
Good point. After all, she's been trained pretty well by a certain someone already.
It also mentions Will-san. Ah, there's a surprise. Looks like Will-san hit it big on the foreign exchange market, and he's now living a life of leisure on the income from his real estate investments. Sounds like he started playing badminton lately too. I'll bet he has a hellish coach.
His butt's probably swollen by now.
So what about Dylanor? As usual, she's stamping things. Stamping things, sealing things, approving things, and sometimes even signing things. She humbly asks us to stir up a crime in her district, since she would get assigned to it personally. Well, why don't we? Crime sounds fun.
They say crimes occur wherever the detective goes.
One of these days, if I feel like it, I might drop by to bully her. Oh, and there's also something here about the Siesta Sister Corps. Wait. I don't want to hear it all at once. You've got to pause a bit for dramatic effect. Okay, that'll do it.
I finally grew my right arm back. Do the left one now, please.
Let's have some tea first. Erica, bring in a can of black tea and the pot of dried plums.
I can.
Yes, yes, my master. I don't know what the first one was. With this particular journey over and done with, the Voyager witches rested their rings. It was also that they could leave on a new journey in search of the next fragment. A short break between trips, backdropped by the pleasant scent of black tea.
I just took a biscuit. Where are you going this time?
If you go north, I'm heading south.
And if you go east, I'm heading west.
I hope we can find another charming tale like this one.
Next time, I hope you aren't playing the villain again, Bird.
You do? Being the bad guy was pretty fun.
I wonder what kind of tale we'll find next.
And what kind of tale we'll next meet in?
To a pair of lovers, the sea of fragments is tiny.
Children of Paradise.
The sea of fragments is pretty huge.
Ghost in the Shell.
We'll meet again when someone else cries. Something else cries.
Sounds good. Let's do that.
We'll meet
We
again
will meet again
when
something else cries. The happy voices of the witches faded into the distance. So long, everyone. See you again. Something else cries. It's Zirconia.
Zirconia?
Zirconia.
What's that?
I think it's a bird.
What?
Was it a bird? I can't remember.
I don't even know where you got that from.
Zirconia, when the Zirconia cry. It's the next in the series.
Oh, really?
Yes.
I was gonna ask that. Is there like, did he do another?
There's only one episode out. It's been like that for a few years now, actually, I think. And
So that was the tea party.
yep. Now
That
we
was
have
pretty short.
Yeah, I told you. Now we just got the final. After decades. No more game.
Unless...
No.
Didn't you say he wrote out another one?
Hmm?
There was rumours of like another
Oh,
installment.
No, there's there's Saku, I think.
What's Saku?
I swear, how many times have we been through this? It's like a bonus chapter, kind of. I think. I haven't read it, so I don't know. Okay. You ready?
I guess so.
It was the largest. I
was gonna say, is this Anji?
I think. I'll read it for now, and we'll see. It was the largest banquet hall in this huge hotel. The many guests that filled the room chatted and applauded the person receiving an award trophy on top of the stage. The sign in front said award ceremony from Japan's greatest publishers. And now I would like to begin the novel category. The winner is that fantasy adventure novel we all know so well. The story that started a worldwide movement that continues to grow in leaps and bounds. Sakutaro's Great Adventure.
Sakutaru?
Yeah.
You said Sakutaru.
I said Sakutaro, yeah, I know. The projector in front of the audience showed a brief summary of the series. It was a lengthy fantasy adventure novel that was already more than 8 installments long. The thrilling fantasy story told of the adventures of Sakutaro and a cowardly Vegeta lion who makes friends, learns through his experiences, and grows in his search for the one fragment. The main character's catchphrase, "I'll become the king of beasts," was even one of the candidates for the Buzzwords of the Year award.
That's really cute.
Well, I can't remember who said it, but they were like, you need to, maybe it was Archie, but they were saying like to teach what she learned from Maria's grimoire to other children in need.
Okay.
And so she does it via storytelling. In addition to being a thrill to read, the books also contain many messages for children to learn from, earning it high praise as an adventure novel that parents and kids could enjoy reading together. However, it hadn't received such praise from the beginning. For the first 6 volumes, it went almost entirely unnoticed. But last year, when foreign translations of the series began, it got its big break and suddenly became a huge topic of conversation. So that's kind of a nod to Umineko's development. It was pretty unknown, and then after Witch Hunt came along and started translating it, it became more known. Even before this series, the author had created quite a lot of works, but none of those achieved any public acclaim. However, after this sudden rise in notoriety, her previous works were being re-evaluated one after another. In that sense, it's probably fair to call her an author who went unrecognized for quite a long time. Miss Kotobuki, congratulations on your award. Your latest Sakutaro Goes to the Witch's Island was truly an excellent read. Publishing company executives repeatedly showered her with praise. Sakutaro's Great Adventure. The author's name was Kotobuki Yukari. Nearly all of her royalties were sent to a fund to support needy children, and she herself had served as the director at several protective institutions. Some envious people tried to call this fake charity, but the more that people learned about her, the more those voices withered and died away.
What do you mean fake charity?
I mean, it's a thing, I guess.
Just saying she's doing it for the sake of it?
Public image. Kotobuki Yukari. By now, that name rang loud and clear across Japan. She sat in a chair, cheerfully chatting with the people who came to greet her.
Cheerfully? What?
Last year, she was diagnosed with the initial stages of cancer. After the surgery, her physical strength dropped sharply. Because of this, even in the stand-up awards party, she was given a chair and sat down while greeting people. Some people lamented, saying that if only she had been 20, even 10 years younger, she might have left her mark in history as one of the greatest authors in the 21st century. It had taken so long for her to receive the praise she deserved. She could no longer be called young. Even so, her determination to write had not wavered in the slightest. The story had gone around that, even during her stay in the hospital, most of her time had been spent typing away. She always said the same thing, that she hadn't finished telling everything she needed to tell. Did she mean that she hadn't fully completed Sakutaro's greatest adventure? When that question was asked by a journalist, this is how she answered.
If by writing even one more book, I can teach just one more child how to find happiness, then I will spend the rest of my life writing every book, every page that I can. Because I still haven't fully conveyed those precious teachings I was given.
Miss Kotobuki, congratulations on your award. I hear the movie adaptation has been getting splendid reviews as well. If you keep this up, you might even pass up Harry Potter's record. Harry the Potato. It was the name of a fantasy series that had become a worldwide hit.
Thank you very much for your kind words. It's more than I deserve.
Oh, I forgot to tell you. My name is X, head of Company X's first editorial department.
Sorry, that just gave me flashbacks to seeing my Twitter update notification.
Welcome to X, everybody.
So she's old now, right? Am I correct?
She's older. We don't know how many years, but it's decades later is what.
Okay, so I shouldn't make her sound as old as.
She doesn't have to be like grandma age.
What is her name?
I mean, technically, you could be. Angie?
No,
Who? Virgilia?
No, Virgilia's. Kumasawa. I was like, is she Kumasawa like old? Like how old?
I don't think she should be that old.
Okay. It is an honor to meet you. I hope we have a chance to work together sometime.
Actually, Miss Kotobuki, I apologize for being abrupt, but have you heard of the novelist known as Hachijo Toya?
Hachijo Toya, you say?
She remembered that name from several decades ago. She hadn't expected to ever hear it again. Do you know that name? Have you met Hachijo by any chance?
No, I have not. I did go visit once, but I was an unknown back then. And since I suddenly barged into the publishing company office, it's hardly surprising that I was refused an interview.
Oh, I didn't know that. Could it be that you're a fan of Hachijo's work?
No. I just wanted to find out what sort of person she was.
I see. Well, the truth is, about that novelist, Hachijo Toya would like to meet with you discreetly.
To meet with me?
Yes. Not as a formal interview, but personally, off the record. If you're interested, we would be happy to arrange the meeting. But of course, this has nothing to do with work.
Hachijo Toya wants to meet Kotobuki Yukari. Just like how I realized that Itoi Kukuro was Hachijo Toya, did she use my name to figure out my identity?
So, Itoi Kukuro, there's a whole thing about that. It went over my head, like, even when they told us about it, I was like, I still don't get it. It's meant to be like a, I don't know, some sort of like word game. And it gives hints to being Hachijo Toya.
Okay.
Because that's one of the pen names they're using.
Yeah.
As like to make like some of the forgeries. Because remember, they had multiple, like, names.
Is this still, Anji?
I'll just keep going. The Rekenjima mystery has been called one of the greatest social phenomena at the turn of the century. The uproar, which dragged in enthusiasts from across the world, suddenly subsided after an event held by Hachijo Toyo, where she was going to unveil the diary of Ushirimiya Eva, which contained the truth. Though she had set up the event herself, she then outrageously disappeared without releasing the contents of the diary, drawing harsh criticism for doing so. However, a very, very obvious feeling had been revived in the public sphere, that they had been prying into a terrible accident with many victims purely out of curiosity. And so the frenzy surrounding the Rekenjima mystery had faded away quietly.
I feel like that's a lot of, like, YouTube.
That's why I brought it up last time we were talking about this, because this is, like, one of the things the story brings up. I imagine this will be you, aren't you?
Entertainment.
Yeah.
Hachizo Toya, no. Ito Kukuro. She caught the public eye as a forger of Rekenjima mysteries. She claimed to have reached the truth and released groundbreaking works of fiction, one after another. She became famous as the driving force behind the Rekenjima mystery. After realizing that Itui Kukuro was Hachijo Toya, I went to her publishing company to ask for an interview, but I didn't get one. At that time, I despised her. Back in the beginning, I thought she might have used the Rekenjima mystery as a publicity stunt to advance herself. But now I feel grateful to her. If she hadn't refused to show the diary in such an outrageous way, the Rekenjima catbox might still be the plaything of countless goats. She was indeed a forger who toyed with the catbox, and I still had an uneasy feeling about her. However, at the same time, she was the one who, practically speaking, allowed Rekenjima to rest in peace. And did she really reach the truth? How had she reached something that seemed infinitely close to the truth, even from my perspective? Even now, after all these years, that's something I've wanted to know.
What do you think, Miss Kotobuki? Of course, this is not an urgent request. I was told to tell you to take your time in making your decision, if you wished.
I understand. Does Hachijo Toya live near the city?
I was told that a meeting near here would be satisfactory at any time.
I see. In that case, can I ask for you to arrange a meeting for us in a quiet coffee shop next Sunday?
Yes, as you wish. Thank you very much. I believe Hachijo will be delighted as well.
I have one condition.
Yes, whatever you say.
I am not going to discuss business, so please refrain from sending anyone from the editing department.
But of course, we will do as you say.
Madame Hachijo and I will meet alone, just the two of us. Can I count on you to keep the promise?
Well, as to that, we would, appreciate it if you kept this quiet, but...
What is it?
Well, the truth is, the works of Hachijo Toyo were written by two people. To the outside world, those books were written by a single female author, but there is actually a second author, a male one. The pair of them asked for a chance to meet you.
No. No. What? No. Real? What?
She's lying.
As soon as I heard that, I felt a premonition. How had Hachijo Toya, a person with no connections to the Ushiramiya family, managed to write about it in such detail? It was already feeling a premonition of a certain kind of miracle. When I left on my journey, I abandoned the name Ushiramiya Anji and stepped into a new life. By now, things have settled down. But when the Sumidera family was still a threat, I wanted to distance myself from that name. Thanks to that, no one was able to get in touch with the new me anymore. However, now that Sakutaro's adventure has caught the public eye this year and made the name of Kotobuki Yukari famous, maybe it finally reached his ears. I used to play with a lion stuffed animal called Sakutaro, along with Maria Onei-chan. If those who knew this connected the name Sakutaro with my name, then it's only natural they'd figure out who I was. The number of people who would be able to recognize me from this was very small. The person was also well versed in detective novels and a man. I could only think of one person who matched. After all, I knew just how many detective novels he had piled up in his room from the time when his effects were gone through. It's Koro. It was It was almost the time we had arranged for our meeting. My heart was racing, almost like a girl in love for the first time. At the very instant that the arranged time came, I heard the sound of a chime on the door. And they appeared. It was a man sitting on a wheelchair, and a woman pushing him. My eyes immediately fixed on the man in the wheelchair, and right away, I saw the traces that remained on his face. There's no doubt about it. He's my brother, Ushiramiya Battler. When our eyes met, he gave a little bow. I hurried to my feet and bowed back. It was somewhat exaggerated and a silly way for a pair of siblings to greet each other after several decades apart. However, my mind was already blank. The miracle I had waited for all this time was now a reality. Are you Miss Kotobuki Yukari? Yes, I am. And you two must be Hachijo Toya. It's a pleasure to meet you. Thank you very much for letting us borrow your precious time today. My name is Hachijo Ikuko. I am mostly in charge of the actual writing. This is Toya. He mostly handles the drafting. Though the woman who called herself Ikuko was far older than me, she seemed to be unbelievably youthful. It wasn't because she was good with makeup or dressed like a younger woman. It felt strange to say it. There was a strange mystique about her, as though she was immortal and never aging. Then I quickly remembered that she had introduced my brother as Toya. Pardon me for asking, but are you two married? We are not married, but we have been together for a long time.
True. Looking back on it, it really has been a long time.
My brother smiled as he spoke. When I learned that, at least for him, those long decades hadn't been a period of isolation and loneliness, I felt an incredible sense of peace and relief. Before I knew it, he was staring back into my face. Well, I was just 6 years old the last time we met. It must be hard for him to find any traces he could recognize. I'm sure he'll recognize something just the same. We keep stealing glances at each other and looking away like a couple on a blind date. We were both at an age where outside appearances mattered to us. Even though we both knew, we wouldn't let our polite exterior falter. This humorous exchange was extremely embarrassing. Though I thought it would be a fated reunion, that we would hold each other and sob tears of gratitude. However, reality seemed to be different. But that's fine. It feels like my heart will explode with happiness. Let's take our orders. Is coffee okay? What does everyone want?
I'd prefer something that isn't so bitter. How about you, Miss Kotobuki?
Oh, I don't mind. I guess I'll have a cafe au latte. Wait, no, it's cafe au lait. How stiff we're all being. Even my brothers seem to be finding it amusing by now. Well, now. When she said that, my brother and I fell silent and sat up straight. Should I start? Or will we start with you, Toya?
I'll go first. I'm the one who pushed so hard for this meeting, after all.
As he spoke, he watched me calmly.
I came here today thinking that you might be a certain person. Her name was Ushiramiya Anji. When I read your works and heard your name, I was sure that you were her.
That's right. How long it's been since I last used that name. My true name is Ushiramiya Anji. I gave the exaggerated bow that I'd gotten so used to these long years. We've both aged, haven't we, Oni-chan? I whispered this in my heart. Now it was my turn. With a quick apology, I fished around in my handbag and took out a photo. It was a picture from a trip I had taken to an amusement park with Butler Oni-chan. I had many other pictures of us having a good time, but this one had the best shot of his face. I looked between him and the photo. There was no longer any room for doubt. Mr. Toya, your true name is Ushiramiya Butler-san, isn't it? The hands of the clock inside me stopped. I wanted him to answer with a yes, even though I was already so sure. I was still about to burst with the tension. And then, when that instant that seemed far too long ended, my brother answered.
That's right.
Unconsciously, I stared at my brother's face. With unbelievable quickness, he acknowledged that he was Ushiramiya Butler. My eyes immediately filled and overflowed with tears. I took out a handkerchief and wiped them away, but I couldn't hold them back. Oni-chan was alive after all. So why didn't he come back to me right away? If he had been there during my darkest days, it would have meant so much to me. Normally that thought would have made me curse my brother, but by now even that emotion was softened. After all, now that I was faced with the miracle of being reunited with Oni-chan, everything I'd felt before fell away with my tears. At this moment, I was happy. I was never alone. I worked so hard for decades with that belief in my heart. And now, I've finally been rewarded. By now, I couldn't even stop my tears. For some time, I continued to sob and sniffle. Watching this, my brother hung his head apologetically. Why didn't he come back to me sooner? It looked as though he was feeling regret for that. but I'm sure he had some sort of reason. He's probably here to tell me about it and apologize. Already, just by introducing himself to me today, everything inside of me has been washed clean with tears. I'm sorry. I must be embarrassing you.
No, it's only to be expected. For several decades, you've been waiting all alone, believing that your family would return.
I did believe. I believed you would come home. Oni-chan. I held out my hand weakly, and my brother slowly held his out too. Then I gripped his hand. Regardless of how many long years had passed, it was without a doubt my brother's hand. Once more I had to struggle to hold back tears. Aunt Ava avoided the explosion accident by escaping to Kuwadorian. How did you escape the accident on Nissan?
On that day, I escaped through the underground passage.
Oh yeah. Wait, Ikikukuro is that it? Okay.
Yeah, Ikuko.
The one that goes to Kuwadorian?
I was told that an underground passage led to a hidden mansion on the opposite side of the island. However, the place we escaped to was a submarine base, not Kuwadorian.
I'm confused. Like, what were they escaping exactly? Did the whole place just go kaboom and they were like, ooh?
Yeah, they had to get away from the explosion.
So how did the others die?
From the explosion.
But, like, why? Do you understand where I'm coming from?
So, the idea is that what we saw at the end of episode 7 is what happened, I think, is the accepted answer. With Kirie and Rudolph killing everyone, and then, except for Ava survives and she runs out.
Didn't he kill people? If we're going with that, yeah.
We never saw Battler kill anyone. We saw him with the cousins, and then they were given the tests by quote-unquote Kinzo. And that's the last we saw from Battler. He was waiting for his turn. And we never saw him after that.
Okay. I don't know why my brother entered the underground passage on that day. At least I'm not alone. Thank you, Auntie. At any rate, he went into the underground passage, and unlike Aunt Ava, he escaped to the submarine base. There he escaped the explosion and survived.
After that, I got away on a motorboat. However, it must have capsized somewhere along the way.
It must have. Please forgive him. Toya suffers from memory loss. His memory from around the time he was drowning in the ocean is hazy.
So, the person she picked up was Battler. I was tricking you with that.
So, okay. Could it be that he forgot that he was Ushiromiya Battler for a while? That is correct. Yes, that explains nearly all of the riddles. My brother escaped from the explosion, but either his boat capsized during his escape from the island, or he fell overboard. Afterwards, he must have drifted off somewhere, wandered about, half conscious, and probably got into a traffic accident. On that day, he was lying on the road.
If she had found me even a little later, I probably wouldn't have opened my eyes again.
I believe you suspected that I was the one who hit you for quite some time.
Hey, I've already apologized for that.
This pretty much explains everything. Either because of the time he nearly drowned or because of the traffic accident, my brother's memory was damaged. his memory probably came back eventually. However, by the time I had already set foot into my new life as Kotobuki Yukari, only a handful of people, including President Okanogi, knew where I was. Even if my brother wanted to contact me, there was a very good chance that he wouldn't be able to. Ironically, the name I abandoned when I decided to live in the future delayed my reunion with my brother for so long. In that sense, I am responsible. Not really, because how old was she? Was like 16, 18 when she abandoned
18.
her name.
Yeah.
And he would have been picked up when she was still 6 years old.
Yes.
So
True.
Aunt Ava was still alive.
Yep.
So it's not just like Angie that he could be looking for, also Aunt Ava.
It comes. Well, you gotta think. He did lose his memories. When did they come back? I wonder if you can figure that out.
When his memories came back?
Yeah.
Did they go into that?
Yes.
You have to think about that.
I don't mean like a specific time, but just like how long do you think it would have taken for his memories to come back?
Well, they kind of hinted that they were starting to come back when Hachiro Toya was Hachiro. What is her other name?
Toikokuro?
Oh, I swear she's got another
Feathering?
one.
She's got a few.
Like so they were riding together. I feel like I'm missing something.
Well, Angie said it herself. How could someone, a complete stranger, know like so many like true details about the Ushirimiya family to write stories so close to the truth about them?
Yeah.
So he was obviously helping her.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like he had recollections and memories then.
And Angie was reading these when she was 18, I think.
Yeah.
So within 12 years, he would have gotten his memories back.
She was still Angie though.
We'll find out.
Because what was it? Okay. Ironically, the name I had abandoned when I decided to live in the future delayed my reunion with my brother for so long. In that sense, I am responsible. I did it to myself. However, I'm sure I received the message my brother sent me. The message? That message was Itui Kukuro. I realized that Itui Kukuro, the forger who claimed to have reached the truth, was actually Hachiro Toya. Then I requested a meeting with her through the publishing company to question her about why she was so sure she'd reached the truth. However, I wasn't granted a meeting. In the end, I heard nothing from them. And it's taken all these decades for me to meet Hachiro Toya. If the publishing company had only passed my message on, we could have been reunited so much sooner. However, at the time, I know this, but I can't remember it. Bourgeois. I was just a bourgeois girl who would like to throw money around.
Oh, how the tables have turned.
What do you mean?
I was the one asking what that word was last time. Like episode 4, I think.
Bourgeois. Bougie. I'm a bougie girl.
I probably got it wrong anyway.
I'm gonna look it up now.
Finish this at least.
No! I will read this again. Bourgeois. Yeah, you're right. Bourgeois. Why would they pass on my message when I just barged in with no introduction and demanded to meet the famous and popular Hachijo Toya? We probably crossed paths several times. If just one of those had worked out, if we'd been able to meet, just how much would my life have changed? But this was fate. God had decided that a few decades were needed before this sibling reunion. And during that time, my brother became one half of a mystery novelist. I became a writer of adventure novels for children. You could say that we achieved success in society. My brother and I, we reunited after becoming successful. Now I could do nothing more but thank God for bringing about this miracle. Maybe it was God's will that we would be reunited after achieving success as novelists. Back then I was nameless, so I never got through to you. We've met now because we've both become famous as authors. I think all of this was God's will. Ikuko, that's the one I was looking for, not At the time, we heard through the publishing company that you wanted to have an interview with us. They said that a fan who discovered Itui Kukuro's true identity wanted to talk to her. You must have had dozens of fans dying for an interview. You couldn't possibly go meet all of them. No. They let us know that your name was Ushirimiya Anji. At that time, I had already realized that Toya's true name was Ushirimiya Battler, so I thought you should be given a chance to meet him.
I refused.
Excuse me, Butler? Okay. My brother said that to me. What did you say?
I refused because I didn't want to meet you.
Once more my brother spoke clearly. I was completely confused. I could only sit there in shock and silence, waiting for the words that were sure to follow. I believe I already mentioned that Toya suffered from memory loss. And then one day... Why did you refuse when you knew it was me? I cut through Ikuko's words and questioned him directly. What reason could my brother have for rejecting me? I couldn't think of anything. That unpleasant emotion brought up long-forgotten feelings of anger inside me. You must have known that I was your little sister, that your little sister was living all alone, being crushed by loneliness. So why did you refuse me? My brother hung his head. It seemed more like he was lost for words than apologetic. There was nothing shy about his appearance, and I questioned him again in an even louder voice. When I asked for an appointment with Hachijo Toya, Itui Kukuro was already famous as the forger. Why did Itui Kukuro's forgeries reach the truth? It's obvious. My brother, Ushirimiya Battler, explained to her what happened on the island in detail. So the appearance of Itui Kukuro proves that my brother's memory had returned. Therefore, he can't excuse himself by saying that he didn't remember me. In fact, in reality, he didn't try to make excuses. On the contrary, he's openly said that he refused to meet me, even though he knew who I was.
Looking back, I regret what I did.
You regret it? Did you ever try thinking about how I felt? For decades, for most of my life. Do you realize what feelings I had to live with? Various emotions swelled inside of me. I realized that I wasn't in control of them anymore. I could only moan to prevent myself from saying something I'd regret.
I feel deeply ashamed for doing something so cruel to you. That's why I've searched for you ever since then. For your sake and for mine, I should have met you much earlier.
Then why wouldn't you meet me then? Miss Kotobuki, as I said before, his memory was damaged. No, perhaps I should say that his brain was damaged. It's an after effect of the incident. But his memory came back just the same. But no, that's not. But his memory came back just the same, didn't it? Yes, his memory came back. However, that did not remove the effects of the damage.
I have Ushirimiya Battler's memories. However, because of the damage to my brain, I can't think of those as my own.
Can't think of those as your own? Yes. Oh yeah, that's not...
It's true that my memory of my escape from the island is still hazy. However, I've remembered almost everything else. Like how those pink hair ornaments of yours that you treasure so much were something I won for you at the game corner in that amusement park.
Yes, that's right. They're a treasure from when I was a child. I still keep them with me in my handbag.
I remember a lot more besides that. I remember you giving Mum trouble because you hated eating seaweed. I remember that you tried to move it to my plate and trick her. And when...
If you remember that much, then why can't you think of those memories as your own?
That's the result of the damage to my brain. I've been to several hospitals, but it didn't do me any good. You probably can't understand it. You can't know how painful it is to have your mind suddenly filled with the memories of men you don't know.
He was terrified that he wasn't himself anymore. His mind was filled with the memories of a man he didn't recognize, and they threatened to crush and overwhelm him. They must have been his own lost memories. However, his brain couldn't accept it as his own.
Those days were painful, terrifying. It felt like my mind was being invaded. Tonight, when I turn off the lights and go to sleep, maybe I will never wake up again. Maybe a different man will wake up tomorrow morning and start living life in my body. I can't count the nights that this terror tormented me.
Several times he tried to convince himself that they were his real memories. He told himself that he was Ushimura Butler over and over again.
But nothing worked. I am me, Hachijo Toyo. No matter how much Ushirimiya Battler's memories flow into my mind, to me, they're the memories of another person. I couldn't accept Ushirimiya Battler.
As Ushirimiya Battler said this, he hung his head and his eyes turned red. Then one day, when he was caught between himself and the other self he couldn't accept, he had a fit. Fortunately, his life was spared, but the after effects forced him to spend his life in a wheelchair. You mean, he... Now I know why he showed up in that wheelchair. And now I know why he refused to meet with me. He was afraid that I would call him Big Brother. He was terrified of meeting me, fearful that the part of himself that wasn't him would grow still further in his mind. Even so, he fought. He felt that since Ushirimiya Battler was inside him, it was his responsibility to meet with you. Thinking that, He kept on fighting in the space between his two selves. And then he had a fit. After something like that, it was only natural that Ikuko would tell him that he didn't need to remember Ushirimiya Battler anymore. Bit by bit, he tried to forget that he was once Ushirimiya Battler. Doctor's instructions and medication. With that and Ikuko's diligent care, he slowly began to regain his peace of mind.
Even so, I thought I would have to meet you sooner or later. To be honest, I didn't get a wink of sleep last night. I was scared of meeting you. If I met you, would I die? Yes, I was afraid. However, here I am, talking to you normally. That's why I regret what I did. If only I could have met with you earlier. You and the Ushirimiya Battler inside of me might not have had to suffer all those years. Just thinking that makes me feel so sorry.
So this is like Battler but not Battler.
Yeah, it's Hachiro Toya.
I don't know how I feel about Hachiro Toya. As the one who was once Ushirimiya Battler said this, he broke down crying. I already understood. So, it really was true. Ushirimiya Battler did die that day. After all, didn't the witches say that he was dead so often with the red truth? How pathetic for the witch of resurrection, the witch of the future, who swore that everyone would be together always. Toya-san, please raise your head.
Miss Kotobuki.
They realized why I had called him Toya-san, by calling him by that name. I myself felt the agitation in my heart subside a little. Thank you. You must have suffered so much. Thank you, Mr. Toya. Thank you. Nissan. Thanks for pushing yourself so hard to come here today. Holding hands, we brought our foreheads close and cried together for a while. Then we talked of the old days. He remembered many things vividly, even things that I couldn't remember myself. Each time they made me cry even harder and he hung his head lower. I realized how much this hurt him, so I kept nodding in encouragement with a strange look on my face. Something between a sob and a smile. Even if this isn't Ushirimiya Battler. My Oni-chan came back to me. Welcome home, Oni-chan.
So you're not a fan of Hachiro Toya?
It's a bit, bittersweet, isn't it?
Well, what do you think?
I feel like my brain needs to digest.
I feel like a lot of people feel like Toya or Battler's excuse, quote unquote, isn't good enough to not meet Anji.
You know what, when they explained it, I was like, no, I get that. I get it. Is it, like... It probably doesn't seem good enough because...
We've seen Anji's side.
You've seen Anji's side,
through,
yeah. And just the turmoil and suffering that she went through.
Yeah.
And also, yeah, but like I mentioned before, like he knew like way early on, and you're right, they did cover that, but at the same time, they've also given his reasonings, and I mean, it doesn't seem fair, but it also kind of is fair. Like he has had his own fair share of suffering and pain as well, and I don't think you can really deny that.
And like they did say that he did try. He tried to be Battler like many times, and it just kept leading him down to like probably death. I don't know. Like he became paralyzed essentially because of it, and like he just pushed himself to that point to become Battler, but he ended up in a wheelchair because of it. And so like Ikuko and like they said, the doctors and stuff were just like, yeah, you can just forget about Butler, take these meds, and live your new life, kind of thing. And you'd probably like, even if he still had like the feelings of maybe I should meet with Anji, that like after like becoming like wheelchair bound, that's I guess where he got the fear of like death essentially.
Well, it's
the death of Hachijo and
it's his like it's who he is. Yeah, he's literally kind of got a split personality thing going on, and that like the way that they described it did make it sound very scary.
Yeah.
Like there's having an unknown person. It actually kind of reminded me a little bit of Tokyo Ghoul. That's where my brain was going. But I did think that was very interesting perspective that he put on it, the author. Just the complications of amnesia, memory loss, getting your memory back. And I guess, in a sense, he needed to have that in order to progress the story. Like, if Batley came back and remembered everything, we wouldn't have...
Hey, Anji. I've just been AFK this for a while.
Well, no, like, if he, like, remembered, like, way earlier when she was, like, 16 and trying to find out everything, it would have been like, yes, someone has finally come back. I've got, like, my dreams have come true again. My brother is alive.
So, do you get why he did the Catbox Tales?
I didn't think that deeply. I'm still processing everything.
Same reason why, like, Ava didn't reveal the truth. He was trying to hide what happened to Anji. Well,
to Anji?
For Anji. What happened that day for Anji's sake.
So it was her parents were evilly...
Yeah, her parents
corrupt
pretty
people.
much killed everyone. And he didn't want that to, like, torment her.
Why?
I had the thought when I was reading that perhaps Battler was one of the culprits as well. Because there was a line when I was rereading it in episode 4 where Ava's like, there's someone out there trying to kill me and stuff like that when she was in her like hospital bed. I was like, is she talking about Battler there or something like that? But I think per rules, if we're Whatever you go by the story, I believe that the intention is Battler is not the culprit. He's just also a victim in the story.
What wasn't there? I swear there was one where Battler pulls out the gun as well with his parents.
Burns' tail, yeah.
Yeah. And then there's the other one where he's like really disappointed in his parents.
Which one was that?
I swear there's one where he comes face to face with his dad. But his dad like doesn't kill him properly.
Nah, he comes face to face with George, and the gun shoots low. He does eventually kill George, but
No, wasn't it like he didn't kill someone properly, and it was oh my goodness.
yeah, it was George. That's the only one he didn't kill properly.
No, but the like mum had to come back and kill him. Because she was like, he's too soft.
No. So he misses the kill shot on George, and then so George is looking at him, goes for a fight or die kick. Rudolph kills him. Ava comes along, kills Rudolph, and then Kirie comes along.
There was definitely someone that Kirie like had to kill, that she got Rudolph to kill, and he kind of messed it up. I swear there was a line where it's...
I know what line you're talking about.
This wasn't the line, but it was kind of like, never send a man to do a woman's job, kind of a sentiment.
That's what she says in that part with George. Well, George, Ava. That scene. Because he gets himself killed right after he kills George by Ava. Alright, shall we continue then?
Mm-hmm. It had already gotten dark outside. The violins are really loud. Let me turn them down. There we go. It had already gotten dark outside, even though he had come from far away. He was willing to stay as late as this. We left the store. It's probably best if I don't meet with Mr. Toya again. It will cause him pain, and of course, I'll find myself bound to the past again. Even so, just one more time. There was one place I felt I had to show him. Mr. Toya, would you mind meeting with me just one last time? There's a place I feel I need to show you.
Sure, I don't mind.
From my handbag, I pulled an invitation written on a folded up piece of A4 paper. The pair of them spread it out. My, now this looks like a splendid event.
Come to think of it, you've been involved in a lot of things besides novels, haven't you?
Would you lend me your time just once more on that day? That way, I think both me and my brother will be satisfied. I think it might be also a chance for you to free yourself from the weight of my brother's memory, Mr. Toya. I don't believe we have any plans for then, as long as we can finish the afterword for the book.
Okay, Miss Kotobuki. We'd be happy to join you.
Thank you, Mr. Toya.
The cold October night was a reminder that winter was approaching. The two people who called themselves Hachijo Toya visited the city once again by Auntie's invitation. A car stopped in front of a large building. Ikuko unfolded the wheelchair with a practiced hand, lent a shoulder to Toya as he got out of the passenger seat, and helped him into the chair.
It looks splendid.
The Fukuin house. It's my first time coming here, but I know it well. I believe it's the institution for children that was funded by the Ushirimiya family.
Madam Ikuko, Mr. Toya, allow us to welcome you to the Fukuin house.
They were welcomed by Anji and some staff members. This was the Fukuin house, a welfare institution for unfortunate children who had lost their parents. In the past, this institution had been established thanks to Ushirimiya Kinzo's support. However, that support had been interrupted and the Fukuin house had been forced to shut down for a time. Decades passed, and now the institution would be revived by the hand of Kotobuki Yukari. It's a pleasure to see you again, Miss Kotobuki. Thank you for inviting us. The two of us want you to have this. It's not much, but I hope the children enjoy it.
That's not the reason I invited you here. My apologies. Don't worry about that. The tales of the future are always woven by children. After all, without them, the tale of humans will not continue.
Children are treasures, so please, let this be useful.
Thank you very much. We have a form for donations, so if it isn't too much trouble.
The Fukuin house had been drastically remodeled in recent years, in the hopes that children would one day be able to remember this as a fun place. Anji used her own money to massively remodel it into a beautiful establishment. By now, she had accumulated a lot of wealth as a novelist, but even without that, she had been saving the tens of millions of yen she got from the Ushirimiya group each year under the name of living expenses. This money had been used generously to help the children. When they came into the entrance hall, a cheerful scene was spread before them. There were pictures and crafts created by the children. Every corner was filled with things on display. The contrast between this elegant building and the school atmosphere was amusing. The yells and laughter of kids running around drifted in from the distance. I imagine that many of the children come here hanging their heads in sorrow. To think that they could laugh like that. You really have done something great.
Anyone can use magic to create a future and find their fragment of happiness. This is a witch's school for teaching that magic.
The witch's dormitory from Saktaro's Great Adventure?
Oh, how embarrassing. So you've read it too? We read straight through it right after our last meeting. I really must bow my head, not only to your talent as a writer, but to your warm heart. How embarrassing. This way, straight to the end.
Pushing Toya's wheelchair, we advanced through the corridor and reached the great doors at the end. I think this is Anji speaking.
Yeah. The happy voices of children came from the other side. Apparently, this was where tonight's
party was being held. There were several jack-o'-lanterns cut out out of origami. Tonight was the Fukuin house's Halloween party.
Too much Minecraft. Here you are, Mr. Toya.
I see. So it's trick or treat.
So she's literally like doing what he did for her.
Nice.
Halloween event.
He was handed a bag filled with candy. A teacher warned him in a small voice to watch out for rampaging children. Children. I haven't had anything to do with them for years.
Please tell the children stories of dreams. All of us welcome guests here.
That's tricky. What should I tell them?
When you're handing in your manuscript, choose your publishing company wisely.
And don't pay any attention to reader polls.
Then I'll open the doors. The children are waiting.
Anji opened the large double doors. This is...
Oh, those sandwiches.
At the side of the hall, Toya opened his mouth in wide-eyed shock. This was the great hall of the Ushiromiya mansion. No, that's impossible. This is definitely the Fukuin house, but its hall was just like the one in Rokenjima mansion.
What a splendid hall. Is he about to have a breakdown?
This is a replica of the hall in the Ushiromiya mansion on Rokenjima.
Yes. I've reproduced it as well as my memory would let me. The details might be wrong there.
No. This really is the hall of the Ushiromiya family mansion on that day. And then Toya's eyes fixed on something at the other side of the room. It was a portrait of Rokenjima's other master. It's exactly the same as my memories.
The artist hired by Ushiromiya Kinzo to paint the portrait had a photo. I had him draw it based on that again.
I was simply frozen in shock. The long, large table was filled with Halloween party food and surrounded with children stuffing themselves. The teacher said, "Everyone, we have guests." The children all looked at us at once, then stood up and ran forward. Their broad smiles at the arrival of this long-awaited guest enveloped me. The smiles and eyes of the children welcomed me. Yeah, I know all of your faces. It's been so long, far too long. I'm finally here at last. I wonder why they don't get voices here.
The last one's going to be Beatrice.
Started with Goda, it ends with Goda.
This is literally like the clapping scene at the end of Evangelion.
I still haven't seen Evangelion. I need to watch it. You can read this.
You've kept me waiting, battler.
Sorry, I showed up pretty late.
What are you doing sitting in a wheelchair like that? Come on, I'll give you a hand, so straighten up.
Beato stepped forward and held out a hand to Battler as he sat in the wheelchair. Battler slowly grasped that hand and rose to his feet.
Listen, all of us are finally here. Tonight, the Golden Land will be resurrected in this place.
An explosive applause greeted Battler. Everyone was there. Everyone. Then Beato hugged Battler, strongly, tightly, as though she would never let him go.
It is truly amazing that you made it back.
I'm home. Sorry I took so long.
I won't let go again.
Yeah, I'm not letting go either.
We'll be together for all eternity.
And that's it.
Like, actually?
The end, yep. The only thing we haven't done is the trick ending, of course. What?
It doesn't feel real.
3 years?
It doesn't feel real.
3 years down the drain? What a waste of time.
No. That's not what I meant. It doesn't feel like the end.
How does that not feel like the end?
I don't know.
Battler.
Probably just hasn't sunk in for me yet.
So Toya can finally say goodbye to Battler. Battler's rejoined.
Is it kind of like, is it symbolic that he died?
Yeah, I think that's saying like Ushiromi Battler is finally just no more.
He's dead.
And Toya can finally like live on his life.
It's still sad though because it's not the happy fairy tale ending.
Yeah,
for
of course
Auntie,
not.
But it still is kind of a. I don't know.
She got her miracle, despite it not being as.
But at
happy,
what cost? At
happy
what
as
cost?
she would have liked it to be.
At what cost did she get her miracle? Just everything her miracle cost her everything.
You know, like when you said, "Is he gonna have a breakdown?" I had the same thought when I was reading
Oh,
the first
really?
time. Actually,
all of a sudden you're just gonna be like,
before-
oh.
So, I was so like paranoid from all the door opening like horror scenes they'd done in the past. I was like, is she going to open the door and it's going to be like a recreation of all the murders and stuff inside? I was just going, is she doing this for revenge, just to like completely break him?
Stuff you, Battler!
If I couldn't be happy, then neither can you.
It also did feel quite heartbreaking to read just her like, why didn't you come see me?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I feel like people don't. I don't know if this is true, but I feel like people don't really give Butler like any leniency when it comes to that scene. Like, not
Really?
everyone, but I just get that feeling. I don't know, it's rough. I offer up this tale to my beloved witch, Beatrice.
Oh dear. Oh, who would have thought you'd end up cheering for those two? Once upon a time, I hated her so much.
You hated Beatrice?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought you liked her, despite being like the quote-unquote villain.
No, like there was a point early on in the game, like where she'd done so much like bad, annoying stuff, and you just were like, "Come on, Battler, you have to defeat this witch. Like she's just evil."
It's true, I guess.
And then because what it'd do is, ooh, another new one. Like you'd have these moments of like, oh, maybe she's not that bad, and then it'd be like, I've tricked you, Vigilaria's on my side, you've been betrayed. And it's just like, ah!
Alright.
You can trust nobody.
So about like Burn and Lambda.
Wait, where are we now?
Oh, this is just before the door scene.
Oh, okay.
So, Burn and Lambda.
Yeah.
When I was going through the story, because I was on the whole like mystery side, witches aren't real kind of thing. They weren't real to me. Like, they weren't actual characters.
Burn
They
and
were,
Lambda?
yeah, they were the concept of miracles and certainty or fate, as I would call it.
Okay.
So, in the way I saw it, it was just like, I don't know. Rikishi is just like personified those like themes or whatever you want to call them, elements. And like, I didn't see it as like Archie's fighting against Burn Castell. She's just fighting against the idea of like not receiving a miracle or receiving a miracle, whatever it is she wants or like hopes for. And like Lambda, yeah, I essentially saw her as like fate, and like her being alone after years and years and years and years was kind of like fate's way of saying like, yeah, everyone's dead, no one's coming back. And like Burns like way of saying like, I guarantee there's no miracle that's gonna come by, is like just the same thing, but from the other perspective. If that makes any sense. I don't know what I just said. But anyway, that's how I saw it. After watching Higurashi Go on Sotsu.
Yes, which I have not. Just for audience context, I have not. I still haven't even finished Higurashi.
Yeah. So perhaps those characters are more real
than you gave them credit for.
Yeah. I mean, it still works in the it still works for them to not be real within the confines of Umineko.
Okay.
But like, yeah, there was some superpower
potential
god battles
more,
in that show. So.
More crossovers than you were expecting, essentially.
No, I would still expect them to be in crossovers like later on, but like, just within Umineko, I was just like I love Burn, but she's not real, is what I had in my head. And like Burn Lambda and stuff. They were just like a personification of, well, just miracles and certainty.
And so they became a little bit more real with their latest. Okay.
Only to me. I think everyone else already just agreed that they were actual witches. Alright, we'll go over the trick ending quickly. It's not too long, I don't think.
Okay.
And we've already read this bit, so I'll just skip to the new stuff. What do you think is going to happen with the trick ending?
Wouldn't it still be similar?
So, like
it's just that her attitude is different?
It's more so like the direct thing that happens next that we see from Anji will be different. Like the future stuff with her...
with what she does with Okanogi and...
Yeah. And we don't have the Battler and Beatrice scene either.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's you.
Andy. A strong wind blew through my hair. My nose was filled with the smell of the sea. Oh, wait, this is a different time and location. So is this where she actually went to go meet?
This is on the way to meet Sumidera.
Oh, that is where we're... Okay.
So this is kind of like if she hadn't changed.
She gets shot to death by the Sumidera family.
So yeah.
Oh dear. I hope not. Okay. I must have been standing still for a very long time. This is a point cutting through the sea. I was standing on the boat.
Bow.
I know, I said it, I was like, no. I was standing on the bow of a boat. I was still holding that thing.
Lady, if you stand around there too long, you'll freeze.
I'm a cruiser. So this is...
I don't remember this music coming in here. That's such a weird... Seeing this guy with this music.
Captain Kawabata's face peered out at her.
You can see it now. That's the old Ushiromiya family dock. Ooh, not even a trace of it left.
I see. So, I've come back here. It's been a really long daydream. No, a long and windy side trip. No matter what sort of tales are woven or written about the past, they have nothing to do with my tale of the future. I swore to live life looking only at the future without turning back. If swearing that has a purpose, then this hasn't all been just a daydream. And besides, I've brought many things back with me from that long side trip. Some of these are immediately useful. But yeah, this isn't going to do me much good. No! Oh, Angie! I threw the Beatrice corsage into the ocean.
What was that?
My regrets. Oh my goodness, she's... Okay. I've shed my old shell.
So, with old Rokenjamin right in front of you, you having a change of heart?
That's not what I meant. I mean, I've had enough of being human. I won't waste that long journey. I now have a new way to live. And that isn't as the human called Ishirimiya Anji. I am reborn. I wanted to have like a magical girl transformation. With the full on like Sailor Moon music and everything.
Be careful what you wish for.
Captain. Sorry, but would you mind leaving for a second?
Sure, whatever you say.
Captain Kawabata went down into the driver's area.
What is it, lady? Why the troubled face?
I feel like taking a step into a new life.
You already have.
True. If I could sell off all of the Ushirimiya family's wealth that's burdening me, maybe donating it to some charity, that would be a huge relief. Then I'd finally be able to escape from the shell called Ushirimiya Anji.
It seems like a waste of all that money. You could do anything you wanted with it.
Who cares? My point is that I don't need it.
That may be true. Then again, not everything that you'd be selling off belongs to you exclusively. For example...
Are you talking about the Ushirimiya Group's stock?
That's right. They may be little more than scraps of paper to you, but doing something like that could shatter the whole company. I don't think my boss could bear to have that happen.
Yeah, I know. It's just that for the likes... It's like that for the it's like that for the Sumidaras and President Okanogi alike. There are plenty of people who are in a tough spot because I can do as I please.
There's no doubt that you're a VIP, Anji-san. Wouldn't it be better to chill out and hide away for now, and just hold off from doing anything flashy?
What would be the fastest and most convenient way to prevent this VIP from doing as she pleases, I wonder?
Hey, that's a good question. Well, we could break out the drinks, tell each other our deepest secrets, and...
anyone could guess that the final destination of my journey is Rekenjima. And right now, Rekenjima is completely uninhibited. There's no one there. Inhabited. No one can see or hear. This is the perfect day for a closed room.
Well, yeah, that may be true.
The Sumadera family is chasing me. They even managed to barge into President Okanoki's building with perfect timing. Someone leaked the fact that I was there.
Are you saying my boss sold you out? Then why would he give you a bodyguard?
Since he doesn't know what sort of whims I'm going to act on. President Okanogi wants to have both the Sumadera family and me indebted to him. That way he can sell information about me, let me slip away by a hair, and keep track of my whereabouts, putting both me and the Sumadera family in his debt, while keeping a trump card in his hand.
You're definitely overthinking things there.
Amakusa wore a forced smile, trying to smooth things over. We can be sure that the Sumadera family is chasing me. My actions are being intentionally leaked to them. Then we'll bump into each other on Rekenjima. I will be killed by them. After that, you will be killed. You will kill the Sumadera hitman. And President Okanogi will have a trump card to use in negotiations with the Sumaderas. If I die, the Ushirimiya group will be stable for the time being. Plus, they'll be able to draw the line with the Sumadera family. On the other side, the Sumadera family itself will be able to neatly do away with Aunt Kasumi, the leader of their over-enthusiastic radical faction. Both sides will finish their bargaining with a draw, and everyone will be happy.
Phew. That's a pretty interesting story you thought up there.
That golf bag you brought with you, I've had a look at what's inside. Are you planning to start a war or something with all those guns? But it had a sniper rifle in it. Would a bodyguard who's always by my side really need something like that?
Well, you never know what might happen.
Why would a bodyguard who works best when traveling light choose to abandon his position for a whole day to get a gun like that? And right before we leave for Rekenjima.
Lady, you're overthinking this, okay?
Amakusa, I trusted you! When I reach Rekenjima, you'll suggest that I go visit the place they died or something, getting me on my own. That's the bait. The bait to lure and Sumadera Kasumi, and the others waiting for me on the Rekenjima. After that, you use that ridiculously huge gun to round them up. The end.
Well, what's wrong with rounding them up? Isn't that what a guard's supposed to do?
In addition to a cutting-edge sniper rifle, you also had a modern German submachine gun.
Those are really handy. No matter how many people the Sumaderas have, I could clean them all up, no trouble.
There was one more. A handgun. Even though the sniper rifle and the submachine gun were the best in the newest models, the handgun alone was beat up and old-fashioned. See? Aji pulled the handgun out and pointed it at Amakusa.
Cut it out. This isn't funny.
A handgun is something you're always supposed to have on your person, right? So why would you go get a second handgun? And such an unusually old one. One theory can explain this. What if it's the same kind of gun Sumadera Kasumi and the others are using? This is a Tokarev, a gun once used by the Soviet military and which has gotten pretty popular in the Japanese underground. It's exactly the sort of weapon that the Sumaderas might be using. Also, having Sumidera Kasumi die would be convenient for the Sumidera family as well. They could have leaked, no, exchanged information on their end as well. Therefore, it's possible that you knew beforehand that the Sumidera hitmen would be using Tokarevs. Amakusa was speechless. Was he speechless because this was all true, or because he was stunned by the determination with which Anji pointed the gun at him? The plan the plan that all of you made together. It was to use me as bait to lure Sumidera Kasumi to an uninhabited island, setting it up so that both sides appear to finish each other off. And setting everything nice and neat for both President Okanoki and the Sumidera family. Is the Sumidera family still trying to get the wealth, though? Because I don't really understand how they can justify that.
They would be the remaining family with ties to the Ushirome family?
They're not like a blood family, so I feel like it's a reaching.
Yeah, it'd be a reach, but...
A single line of cold sweat dripped down Amakusa's forehead. With the wind whipping through her hair, Anji spoke coldly. Just by the presence of this handgun, see how far Ushirome Anji's reasoning has taken her. Why does she sound like Erica? You could hear that too, right? What do you think, everyone?
You haven't taken the safety off.
I know. Tokarevs don't have a safety. Amakusa tried to dive behind cover, but he couldn't outrun a bullet. It shot into his gut, making him double over in pain. Then, Anji, who knew that he had a gun hidden in his pocket, then eliminated his chances of a counterattack. Interesting. Blood spurted from Amakusa's forehead, and he did not close his eyes again. There's a perfect, certain way to confirm someone's death without a doctor, and it's the easiest one in the world.
You!
Kawabata stuck his head out, and his face went pale when he saw the gruesome scene on the deck. This time, Anji pointed the barrel of the gun at his forehead. Before we left, you said you needed a bit more time to get the boat ready. However, if you'd been bought, then we can say for sure that you were buying time so that Sumidera Kasumi could set up her ambush on Rikengima.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
You're a cat box, inside of which is a Kawabata who was brought and betrayed me, and a Kawabata who hasn't betrayed me. Now then, how can I kill the one who betrayed me?
Stop! Don't shoot!
I just have to shoot the whole cat box to death. Wow, this is really different.
If I can't trust you, I just kill you. The boat's owner slumped over and fell. Then, with a second bullet, she performed a perfect examination of his corpse. She had survived. Surely, she had survived the web-like conspiracy that had been wrapped around her since so cleverly. Anji returned to the bow of the boat, faced the strong winds head-on, and peered into the future in front of her. The boat, whose owner was gone, headed towards the endless horizon, on and on in a straight line. She prayed that the truth she truly desired to reach lay before her. Then she heard the sound of clapping. The sound of clapping on a boat where Amakusa and the captain were no more. However, Anji didn't look surprised. She calmly and slowly turned around. That was pretty late, but...
What? Erica?
Splendid reasoning, Comrade Argy. My fellow witch of truth, aren't you, Beatrice?
Oh, you're here, Erica.
Anytime someone wants to expose the truth, you'll find me there.
Hey, Erica.
What? The boat had already passed by Rikkenjima. The island silhouette was now off in the distance. The boat headed towards the endless horizon, continuing on its endless journey. The new Witch of the Truth announced the beginning of this endless journey to her fellow witch.
I'll carve out my future in my own way.
Sounds splendid.
At the end, will there be a truth for me to find?
Just what sort of truth could you be looking for after all this?
You're right. I know that the truth isn't worth anything. And there's one more thing I figured out.
And what's that?
That bewildered look on Amakusa's face when his scheme was exposed. That was pretty good.
Good. Oh, that was both of us. That's the trick ending.
Did
So
she
basically-
become possessed?
I think it's like... She learned something from both... Or she took something different from both sides. She kind of just... I don't know. Became... She became an intellectual rapist, I guess.
Oh my goodness. No.
But the true main difference in the two endings is that Amakusa dies or survives. That's the most important thing.
Yeah. All about Amakusa.
It is. Poor Amakusa did nothing wrong.
I mean, he did let her get killed in that one fragment.
But she didn't die.
We never really went back to her in that scenario, so it was just, I thought it was
It said she died, but
Yeah.
she killed, So I think the idea is that Amakusa killed all the guards while they were trying to kill Anji. And then... probably killed Kasumi as well. Whether he killed Anji or not, I don't know. I would like to think that he didn't, because he could have let them kill her and then kill them off.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But does that mean... So is there a tea party and stuff that's different from these?
No,
or?
that's the only thing that was different. She went and sailed off, became a different person, became Kotobuki.
And she still meets Battler in the end.
Wrote the stories, still meets Battler, yep. Well, now we are officially done.
I feel like she would... My brain is
What?
still like, the wheels are still turning.
Well, that's good. Finally, after finishing the series.
It just seems like she became more like her parents.
Yeah.
Which I thought was
I was
like
definitely
what-
seeing like Kiria in there.
I don't know. That's what they were trying to protect her from, though.
Yeah, exactly. That's the whole point of like why Battler wanted her to choose a certain answer, because he knew that The other way would just be like not a nice way to live. Bloodshed, distrust, just sadness, really. But what are your thoughts and feelings after just the overarching Umineko as a whole? Would you rate it? 0 out of 10? Would sleep again?
I don't think I could rate it right now. It was a lot.
Oh yeah.
I will say that. Like
long.
it was a lot. It was a lot.
Long, lots of content to go through, lots of things, emotions.
Yeah.
What about like positive, negative reception?
I think positive. I think maybe it was too long for me, potentially. That might be a controversial take.
No. That's a very normal take. It's extremely long. I don't think it's as long as the Divine... Was it the Divine Comedy? Is that what it's called?
I have no idea.
Dante's Inferno. I think it's based off that, I think.
But at the same time, I don't think part of that longness can be purely put down to the length of it. I think part of that also just has to do with the way our scheduling worked. And
well, yeah, that's one thing. Ideally, I would have wanted to like go through it like over the course of 1 to 2 years even. But of course, it's just not possible with how we have lived, I guess.
Yeah.
And then like you falling asleep.
It's
Back where we were watching Chrono.
yeah, that's true. But it's because I remember at one point I think I was listening to them on the way to and from work, trying to pick up the hints, and like I just know, like how I'm a little bit slow in getting into things, and then like I get into them and I'm like, oh, because there would be points where I would be like calling you from work being like, I thought of like this thing, or could there be like that, or like and I like was like really wanting to do it, but time and just time and schedule's not really allowing.
Do you think my hyping of the series is warranted? Like, what's the word?
These are like, I'm the worst person to ask these questions because I don't think I think about this stuff the same as other people.
No, you don't need to have thought of it, but thinking about it now that you finished it. Do you think it was worth me being like, oh, because I remember I would tell you, I was like, this is like the best work of fiction I've ever read, that kind of stuff. Like,
I think for me, it's just like it's something that you like and you enjoy, so then it's important to me as well.
All right, so it doesn't matter, I guess. Yeah.
So that's what I meant. Like I'm a little bit.
Well, do you like?
Because you don't really hype up a lot of stuff that often. So when you do, it's like, oh, okay.
Well, I know what it's like to like go into something after someone's hyped it up, and like I understand the feeling of being like reluctant to watch it because this person's been like, oh, it's really good, and you're like, oh, it's not that good.
Oh, but I'm not reluctant.
Oh yeah, no, I'm just saying like nowadays I wouldn't like I wanted to say something else, but I wouldn't like hype it up so much to the point that it would ruin the experience for someone, because I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think about that stuff.
Well, I do. I do now, at least.
You know me, I'm like, watch it, that's so good.
Yeah, that's why I don't watch those things, because you're like going on about it. I'm like, I don't want to do the same thing to other people.
You're just like, oh, is that what I do? Is that what I do to you?
What? Yeah. It's
You're
not
always
good.
just like, if you like it, then it's bad. That's what you say.
Look, I I try not to be like that anymore because it's not really a good way to like enjoy media. It's like just because something is hype, you get this feeling of like, well, I can't watch it because it's just overhyped. I don't know if you experienced that. I know other people have. I've talked to them about it. And it's like, well, even if it's overhyped, as you said, you're still potentially missing out on like some really good media and like stories to be told. If you like go through your whole life just being like, no, I'll just never watch like the super hype stuff. I'll watch it before it's hype, but not after it's hype, kind of thing.
I kind of have a semi-relatable one, and that is, it's gonna sound so cringe.
Sailor Moon.
No, the
What?
OC.
Jeez.
I know. I started watching the OC. I think I watched like the first 2 or 3 episodes before it was. So we have some like free to air channels in Australia, and there's like what 4 main free to air channels. Would you say?
10, 7, 9.
I can't count. That's more than 4.
Go. No, that's 3. Go.
But this is like
Win.
ages ago, so it would have been like, what is it? Channel 7, Channel 9, ABC, Channel 10.
ABC, SBS.
SBS, so that's about 5. And then you potentially had your local spin-off ones. And Channel 10 was like the one where most of the popular teen shows were on. Like they had Dawson's
It had
Creek
The Simpsons,
and
that's all I cared about.
they had a lot of stuff. But the OC originally aired on a different channel. And it wasn't very popular. And I remember I watched it and I loved what I saw because it was so interesting. It tackled some really difficult and interesting issues. So it just was very fresh for the time. At the time from what I saw story wise. And then they stopped showing it and I was like, oh, that's disappointing. Like I was really getting into it. And then I think I'm not sure what happened, but it moved from one channel over to another channel, which was very popular. And then it sort of just like exploded in popularity. And it was like what all the kids at school were watching. But it was like all the cool kids.
And so you stopped watching it.
I stopped watching it because I was like, oh no, it's too popular now. I don't feel like it's spoiled. I don't want to watch it anymore. Which is so dumb. That's
dumb.
really dumb because it's like, why would you torture yourself?
Yeah, exactly.
And like make sure the other like this is another. I don't know where that mentality comes from either.
It's
because even things like
I think it's a very common mentality to have for humans.
It is, but I don't know where it comes from. Like, why did I learn it? Like, why is there that thing? Because I used to, I feel like these are things that are probably a little bit harder for you to relate to.
What?
But
you mean the shows or?
No, I have another example of when I did this, and it was with like Britney Spears' perfume. She had a perfume that came out.
What, you liked it and then like after it got popular you hated it for some reason?
No, I really liked the scent, but I was like, oh no, it's Britney Spears. She's popular. I can't have anything to do with it.
I mean, people do that even more nowadays, to be honest.
But it's like, it's really, it's just a very immature mentality to have. And
Yeah,
I don't know why I had that mentality. I
think it's quite common when you're young and a teenager and you want to be like the trendsetter, essentially. Hipsters back is
but
what we used to call them.
I just know, I think as I matured, I got to the point where I was like, you really enjoy this. Why should it matter, like, what celebrity name is attached to it?
Yeah. I mean,
and
for me, I think the most recent thing I can think of is, like, Jujutsu Kaisen. I won't say anything about the second season because I've only seen the first episode and it seems decent. But, like, the first season, I just didn't really get into it as much because I was like, this is just so overrated, overhyped.
Yeah, we've talked about that because I like it.
Yeah, I thought the animation wasn't even that great. I'm gonna get so much hate for that. But anyway.
Are you regretting your word choices right now?
No, that's
just a big pause.
That's how I felt. I'll just say it how it is.
Yeah, okay. You had other preferences, that's fine. Where are you going with this, though?
No, I was just saying my experience with it, the most recent I can think of. But, like, yeah, I try not to be like that. I think Odd Taxi was one that I had to, like, put aside my, like, that feeling of not wanting to watch it because of its hype and whatever. Because I was like, oh, this big person said it was good. It's probably not that good. And I went and watched it. I was like, yeah, it's pretty fun. It's a nice show to watch. So yeah, I'm trying not to be like that. Trying my best. Sometimes it doesn't work as well as I'd like, but that was an interesting tangent for Umineko.
Well, you're talking about hype.
Yeah, I brought it up myself. But, well, did you take anything from the story? Was there anything that, like, really stuck with you?
It's all sort of just, like, jumbled.
Like, even from, like, the earlier episodes or, like, the later episodes?
I'm not sure. That's a good question.
Because I know for me, like, stuff like Anji and Maria in episode 4, like, even just Maria, like, losing her key and, like, not being able to get back inside, and she's just roaming the streets with Sakutaro and she's, like, crying and stuff, was just, like, I don't know, it's the scene that sticks with me. It didn't really have, like, a message or anything, it was just a sad scene.
Just things that impacted you.
Yeah.
Anything. I think for me, because I how do I explain this without giving away too much information?
Just give it all.
I think I'm going to make an assumption, but I am very open to correction that I might be wrong.
Well, you're wrong.
But I think I had more exposure to things like child neglect and child abuse and stuff in terms of like media and just like stories and things from work in the particular field that I worked in. So, and also when you read this, you were a lot younger. Than I currently am.
I think I started reading when I was in grade 10, so I was not of the smart age, still am not, but...
So you were like, it would have been like some of your first like exposure to this stuff, so yeah, that would have been really confronting, I could imagine.
Honestly, I don't think it was confronting, so to speak.
No? Just... But it impacted you.
Maybe
right?
like
because I think I can relate to you in that aspect, because it makes me think of what is it? When I was reading Kare Kano, I think it's like Kareshi Kanodo, His and Her Circumstances. There's like, as you go further, it starts off a little light.
I'm not sure if I've read that. It sounds familiar.
You probably... I don't think you would have, because it's a shoujo.
I used to read shoujo.
Well, nah. I was like, I'll explain that. I was like, no, there's so many different ones that it could be, even if I explain the synopsis. It's synopsis wise, it's about this girl who she presents herself as this like perfect school graded girl. She gets like the best grades, like really beautiful, talented, just seems to be like effortless, is kind of like seen as like the school goddess. And what people don't know is she's like really lazy. She's not, that's the thing, she's not really lazy. It kind of prevents her as being like super lazy, but she's really like all nice, put together and fashionable at school, very popular, very proud of her image, but then at home she's like in the sweatpants, she's like a little bit more uncouth, like just not a lady. Like,
I feel like that's
sort of like
explaining
Harimia. There's a lot of tropes like that.
There's a lot like that.
So it's like that, and basically the like perfect guy from school gets a crush on her, and then he finds out her real identity, and there's kind of like this semi like blackmail, like I don't know, a bit of like push and shove behavior between the two of them, and then they start dating. But you end up going into like his, so there's like her circumstances, and then you go into his circumstances, and like he is really smart and he is like really good at stuff, but he has, I think, a bit of what is it called? You don't, not an identity crisis, like imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
So he kind of has some imposter syndrome stuff going on because this is spoilers. This is going into spoiler territory, so stop listening now if you want to read it. But he feels like even though he's a good person, he doesn't feel like he is a good person because his parents are criminals, basically.
Alright, I can cross that off the reading list.
Why?
You just spoiled.
It's not that much of a spoiler. The part I wanted to get to is that it goes into some of his childhood circumstances, and one of them was like really serious neglect, and it just shows like the illustrations of like him growing up as a kid, and like when basically I think child services found him and he was like malnourished, really skinny. They like showed like the room he was in was just like garbage bags and trash and takeout and stuff, and like just showing him like as like a toddler trying to figure out like ways to like cook for himself and look after himself and stuff. And it was very I don't know, that was something that was really impactful on me, kind of similar to like the Maria situation for you, I guess. But I just remember after reading that, going out, because I would have been at uni at that time, going out to my housemate in the kitchen and just being like, I feel so strongly about this, like children shouldn't be treated like that, and everybody, it's just like, I'm so angry, like how could this happen, even though it was like a fictional like character. It's like the knowledge that it happens.
I think it sounds bad, but I didn't find like the Maria stuff confronting. Like, I don't know. What I found confronting would have been like Kinzo putting himself onto Beatrice. Like daughter Beatrice. That was a bit like, oh my gosh, what the heck.
Yeah.
But like,
I think a lot of people would have found that.
Oh yeah.
That was even when we did it, it was like, no, he didn't. He did. Ah!
It's like, it's wrong on too many levels.
Yeah, it's.
But like, I had something I was going to say, I can't remember. It was kind of in the vein of Maria and...
Maria.
I don't know.
Maria not being confronting?
Something like that.
I mean,
I don't know.
You don't have to find it confronting. It still made an impact on you, though.
I don't know. I liked Maria for her, like, the thoughts, the brain or the mind, whatever you want to say, that she gave her. I thought was so good. I loved like the things she had to say. It was like very profound. And then like
her profoundness of ooh ooh ooh.
No, like when
I'm sorry, I had to go there.
Oh, fair enough. Like when we got into like Maria's head with the grimoire and stuff like that, or when like Maria would bring someone into her world and like explain to things like why she does this and stuff like that. It's just like, oh my gosh. So just like, what is this prophecy?
So I feel like that sort of sounds like it's the resilience of her character
Yeah,
that attracted you to her.
It's like that, and like yeah, just how she could turn something so like negative into something like positive, almost. Like it's not saying that it was a positive like result from her being abused and stuff by Rosa and stuff.
But that's the thing. There are people who are like that as well.
That's
Like
crazy.
you will find like some people who have been in the most horrific circumstances or have like really horrible parents that are like potentially should be in jail and stuff can end up being like some of the like nicest, kindest, sweetest, smartest, hardworking people that they've just managed to like overcome those challenges. And yet then you've got others who like they end up being, I guess, the result of bad environment, growing, living situations.
I think I was also, like I've told you, was pretty naive. So like, I don't know, the thought of like someone like abusing their kid, I was just like, it just happens in movies mostly. I was like, oh, it happens, but like, it must be so rare because like, who would do that? Why would you do that? Like, and then like, I told you about like my friend and like that one time. Do you remember what I'm talking about?
No.
Okay, so I don't know how much I'll leave in, but and then she was like, "No, he didn't do that. Don't say that." I was just like, even at that time, I was just like, "Oh, she said it didn't happen, so it mustn't have happened." But like when you put it all together, and I look back on it, I'm like, "Wow, that was like right in your face, and you couldn't even see it."
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so that's just my young brain.
It's tricky because as a young person, you shouldn't really be expected to pick those things up, to be honest. Like, you're not mature enough to handle and cope with that. And there is damage that can occur to young minds that have to, like, try and process and deal with things that are beyond their emotional maturity level, I guess you could say. But it's where you have adults who are, or technically should be, the ones who are mature and emotional enough to deal with that stuff when they don't pick up stuff. I think it's a little bit worrying when you have children that are picking up stuff that adults aren't. And then if you don't see like action being taken, then it kind of makes you be like, oh, well then maybe this is how things are, or this is how it is.
Fair enough. Well, do you have any final thoughts for Umineko?
So this is the end.
Yep.
Official end.
Maybe we'll do like the fighting game, and like maybe we could talk about it more later if you like come up with any epiphanies of while you're thinking about reading the story and
the
stuff
deck
like that.
admits after tea party.
The after tea party.
The
and
reflection,
then we delete the channel.
like reflection after like, what is it, a week or so, and I'm like, actually, I thought about this the other day. Like, why did it Ryukishi do blah 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 blah.
That's the way we interrupted so many like emotional moments. In that ending, I was just like, oh no.
The most
Ruined the reaction.
I think the most emotional, like, ending part for me was the reconciliation between Ava and
Yeah, still
Angie.
that same scene.
Yeah, like that got me when I
Yeah,
wasn't expecting it to. And it was just, I don't know. It was pretty powerful.
Well, it got me because it was like, because of my understanding of the Golden Land and how I saw it as like she's going back into like her mindscape to see her loved ones and stuff, and saying all the things that she couldn't say to them in person. Stuff like that. That got me. I mean, like, even the ending scene where they meet again, and like, look, even Battler.
Look, I did get emotional when
Even when Battler punches Burn, like I don't cry, but like, it gives me the feeling. It gives me like,
really? When he
Yeah.
punches Burn?
yeah.
Because it's like, yes. why is it when he punches
It's a
Burn?
combination of a lot of things, I think, because it's like it's the final battle, it's the end. This is like, he's standing up against like all those odds. He's like, I'm still gonna fight. He's fighting for Anji. He's like, I need to stand up for my sister and like show her that there's not only this path of darkness in the future and stuff. And because it's the ending with the music and stuff too. It's like, this is the end, and this music is like, yeah, this really is the end. This is the final battle, kind of thing.
There's also like, okay, this is another thought that I had. We're just going to continue on a tangent.
Yeah.
May as well. But I did also, like, partway through, did kind of wonder, I'm like, at what point did it stop being Battler's tale? And did it become Angie's tale, or was it always meant to be Angie's tale from the beginning? That's like a thought pattern I had as well.
So I'm not as learned
what do you think of that?
Yeah, I'm not as like, I think I mentioned it before, maybe not as much as I should have, but like, what we know from reading the story is all I know. I haven't like, so the manga gives you like the absolute confirmation on a lot of things. It gives you like, I think the howdonuts for all of the mysteries and stuff as well.
Did Ryukishi like do the manga, or was that done in?
He had the input for the manga, yeah.
Okay.
I think, I don't know if I talked about this, but like, I think the plan was that Ikuko would reveal the truth. And I think at some point in the story, like maybe after episode 7, the Japanese, this is like rumors from what I've read, the Japanese fan base was like very like, you need to give us like the proper answer, like give us the red truth essentially of what happened, not just like, this might have been what happened, and you have to think about it and figure out if you think it's the truth or not. And like,
they didn't want it to be open-ended.
Yeah,
basically.
I think so. And then because of that, there was a bit of like a disconnect between author and reader, and so like, he did that whole like, you goats can't think for yourselves kind of thing through Hachijo, or through Ikuko. And they didn't like that, and I think he lost fans from that.
Really?
I think so.
That's very interesting.
Yeah.
So like, backlash.
Yeah. I'm like, this is just what I read from years and years ago. This was ages ago that I read something like this on a forum somewhere. And so like, him not revealing it is kind of like him like sticking the bird, like, screw you. And then like, after the backlash, I think that's where
I want to.
Yeah, I think that's where the manga came in, and he did the manga, or had the manga like
Had
fix
someone
up
else
that bit.
do the manga.
No, like, he had the input for the manga, so he would have told them, okay, we'll put all this in. And then he also did like, like a confessional, I think, from Beatrice, which would give you like all the howdonets for all the games and stuff. Because if you remember episode 7 where it was Will in the room in the chapel with Claire,
That kind of disappeared
so it was like
and
he was doing
became
the Earth...
like not important anymore.
What, that scene?
No, just the two of the like those two as a couple.
Claire. Or you mean Leon?
Leon, yeah, Leon
Yeah.
and
Well, they only served the purpose of the 7th game.
yeah, I guess so.
But like that scene where it's the ashes to ashes. Wait, illusions to illusions. Dust to dust, I think. Do you remember that? Where they went through all the games, they were like, first Twilight, this thing.
Oh,
It was
yeah.
like illusions to illusions, and nobody could, whatever.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. So that's the type of answers we were given. Everyone was given. And then I think that's what people weren't happy about. Because they didn't get their, like, answer sheet. And then, like, as much as it's spelled out in, like, a somewhat ambiguous way, it's still not red truth, so to speak. It's not like this is definitely how it was done. Here you go. And, like, I don't know. I still haven't read that. I haven't read the manga. I haven't read any of the confessional stuff.
Is there a reason why you haven't?
Yeah, I think, I'm not sure if I mentioned it before, but like, I kind of liked the magic of being like, what if I am wrong? What if that wasn't how it happened and stuff like that?
Yeah.
Like,
and
what if Kirie and Rudolph weren't the culprits? Who knows?
I guess
There's
you
that Rosa Umineko theory.
I guess you have found that there was new stuff you picked up on as we read as well, and that's always like, I think that's a sign of a good story, like good storytelling, when you can discover new bits of a story you might have missed you read it again.
There was one thing I didn't mention, but like, I don't, because I'm a cis male. I didn't know, like, the reality of, like, the situation with Beatrice, but, like, the way I felt some of the things that Beatrice was saying in episode 7, or Yasu, it felt kind of like, I don't know, it was like they wanted to be understood, they wanted to be accepted for, like, who they are and stuff. And, like, I don't know, I have the thought in the back of my head, but it's just like I can't bring it out right now.
You can't.
It's like,
yeah.
it's like, I want to say like a coming out kind of thing. Like, they wanted everyone to look at them and, like, understand that I am this person and this is how I am.
Yeah.
That's how I felt, like, in regards to some of the things in that episode. Yeah, I think even before that. And, like, because I'm not of the, like I'm
Is
straight.
it just that you
So
you couldn't comprehend because you haven't had...
No. It's like, I felt like that's how it was, but I don't want to speak on behalf of, like, someone experienced in that.
Yeah. That's
So
fair
I wasn't
enough.
sure if it was, like, right for me to say that or not. But, like, yeah, to me it felt like they wanted to, like, have that expression moment where they're like, this is me, kind of. And, like, everyone accepts it. I don't know. You can correct me if I'm wrong, anyone, but that's just how it felt to me.
Well, you did say that. I remember you were telling me that there was lots of different theories, or discussions that were had about like Beatrice's like gender or identity as well.
Yeah, I think.
But it's still like vague,
Yeah, there's no like.
which
I don't think
is
there's a set
fine.
male or female or neither. I think it's just they are who they are.
Yeah, Beatrice is Beatrice. It
And
does
canon
very
is
much.
Shannon's Shannon. I don't know. That's where it gets kind of confusing when you go into Shannon canon, I think. Like, if you were to ask me, I would say that they would... Because they have so many, like, feminine... What's the word?
Traits?
Personas?
Oh, yeah.
Like, you got Shannon and Beatrice.
Yep.
Versus just Shannon. Canon, sorry. But I don't know. I think so. Canon was probably.
But you also have Leon.
But yeah, Leon was. Leon never gave their gender. I think Leon was very much just like.
Was that a never? They never
Yeah,
gave
yeah,
the
yeah.
gender. Okay.
Will asked Leon.
Because I'm trying to remember whether Jessica called Leon Oni-chan.
No, they never. They never said
They never.
like Oni-chan, Oni-chan.
Ah.
It was always just Leon, or the head, the steamed head kind of thing. Will asked whether Leon was a boy or a girl, and then Leon was like, "I'd rather not answer that." So. I think it was kind of like, "Does it matter?" And he was like, "Yeah, I guess you're right. Doesn't matter."
I really didn't for the story.
You did what?
I said it really didn't for the story.
Oh yeah.
Although you could bring into question, this is just, I guess, playing devil's
Child.
advocate.
Before the child from 19 years ago. Is that what you're going into?
Kind of. So we know that his mom, like, he had a mum.
Excuse me.
They had a mum. Well, I'm thinking of Leon. As in,
Yeah,
like,
and Leon is...
Oh, okay, fair enough. You're true. Like, because they were worried, didn't they hide Leon away? Like, the purpose for hiding Leon and sending Leon to the Fukuin house was they were worried that Kinzo would repeat his crimes of the, 19 years before.
Yeah. They were worried he'd project Beatrice onto Leon.
They're basically worried that there'll be another little Beatrice, which is just very messed up.
I don't think they would be worried about another little Beatrice running around.
Well, it's not... Okay, it's not so much that, but you know what I'm trying to get into without actually, like, talking about it and going into detail of, like, that. Because it doesn't really, like... It doesn't go into detail of the things that happened between them, but it gives you... The story gives enough information that you're able to know that something very horrible, very horrific, that should happen to no one, happened. Yeah. And Beatrice was a victim in that situation. And it was so bad. There is no question that it's wrong or bad.
Yeah.
But it was to the point that the...
Future generations. Is that what you're getting at?
Not the future generations, but even, like, the staff... and, like, the carers of the household realized that...
even Genji, who was, like,
Genji
Kinzo's best friend.
Yeah, Genji Kumasawa, like, they realized that there was a child that needed protection, basically. And they weren't gonna, like, let...
Did they do the best job? I don't know.
It's like
putting them into the Fukuin house to become, like, a servant. Like, their reasoning was they didn't want to, like, keep them too far away from Kinzo because, like...
Wasn't it also, like, a test on Kinzo as well to see if he, like, recognized? It's kind of sometimes I wonder, like, Genji was thinking.
I don't think it was a test. That's interesting thought. It could be. But in my perspective, it wasn't really a test. It was more so like,
Because I always had the impression it kind of seemed like Genji was just like waiting for the day when he could be like, finally, my master. Like,
well, he was, but not for Kinzo's sake. I think more so for Leon or
yeah,
the servant's sake,
definitely for
the
like
child's sake.
Leon, but it was just this like full on
Was
waiting
Leon
period.
in that world? It was Yasu Beatrice.
Yasu, yeah. It is kind of cute how they would like just, I don't know, Kumasawa being like,
Yeah.
oh yes, like
The keys
there's
and
this
stuff.
magical spell you can do, and there's this spiders, and oh, you're Beatrice, yes, we'll go along with that, sure. The young master or
Kinzo.
lady.
I don't know. There's a lot to say about Kinzo. I think I've already said how I feel about him. I think he's a good representation of humanity, really.
Flawed, you mean?
Yes. Flawed, like, I don't know. Do you think it's a stretch to say you can do evil things without being like a truly evil person? I think that could be a stretch.
I think that would probably be a highly contested, fiery topic to debate with people, but I do think that without saying my opinion, I think that people deserve second chances.
Yeah, so I agree with that.
I think that people can change.
Yeah.
That
doesn't erase what's been done.
No, it doesn't.
Like, suffer the
and it's the same
that,
with things like mental health conditions, for an example. Or we actually had something at work, which I have some wonderful people that I work with that have a lot more life experience than I do, and sometimes will come up with like really good gems of knowledge. And we did this thing recently where we it's sort of like a personality quiz. It was this thing done either by like MIT or Harvard. Like there's a study thing that you can do, so it's kind of like a professional workplace like quiz you can do, and it teaches you about like your working styles and your personality type in the workplace, and just like how people respond, how each personality type responds better to certain things or what they need, and potentially why people might communicate in a certain way. And the whole idea of it is to like get an understanding to improve productivity, workplace relationships, stuff like that. And some of the personality types that came up can be like quite abrupt, or like a little bit more demanding. Some want like lots of information, and yeah, so that was a lot of fun. There was a lot of joking and stuff like that happening with the teams that were doing it. And I remember like they started discussing some things, or like how to bring that into practice when they are like working with their own teams. And one of the like directors was just saying, it's like even though it was basically saying like it's a good tool to have, but it shouldn't be like the reason for people to like act out and then be like, it's because I'm this personality type.
Yeah.
Like
No,
he was basically like he's like, it's all good and well to have this knowledge, but he's like, at the end of the day, there is no excuse for poor behavior. Like if someone is behaving badly or rudely, it doesn't matter if you've got like mental health or stuff like that, or like it's your particular personality type. He was just like, there is no excuse. He's like, it's not to be used as an excuse. So if there's poor behavior, if there's bullying in the workplace, if there's stuff like that, it needs to be called out and shut down, because it's not basically, it's like we do not tolerate that stuff. And I was like, that's a really good point. Because it can be like easier to get carried away and to justify and be like, okay, well they're this, so it's justified that they behave like this. But no, like, yeah.
No, I get that. I think there's also the opposite end of the spectrum. Like, I used to, like, not believe in, like, anxiety and depression and stuff when I was younger. And, like,
Yeah,
I would think,
telling
like,
me about that.
people are just using this as an excuse, mainly, like, towards I was like, yeah, she's not really this. It's just like
Don't say that.
that's how I felt.
You've got to erase that. Decky from the future, cut this out.
But like, yeah, it was like that for me, and like, I would have sad moments and be like, oh, I'm depressed, but whatever, kind of thing. But like, it wasn't until like years later, and like, because you were living with us at the same time, so you kind of understand like the situation and stuff. But like,
Stuff was going down.
Yeah, stuff was going on. I kind of started to realize like why certain things were in my life, like why I couldn't do this, I couldn't do that. Like, I remember like where I truly felt like depression, like I just didn't want to get out of bed. I felt like I was just floating, literally physically just floating in my bed and just like lying there all day, just for hours, just I didn't want to do anything. And then like with anxiety, that's like still going on now, and that's why I am still in this situation, because I don't know. I like when I started to realize that this is what anxiety is, I reached out to, someone, and I was shut down every time I approached them about it.
Yeah.
And so
it
was like me
for
fighting
context purposes, like you knew someone who was dealing with depression and had like dealt with that for like a lifetime.
Yeah.
It seemed like, and then that person basically was like anxiety doesn't.
A different person I was talking about before.
Oh really?
Yeah. No. I'll just mute this if I have to. But I was talking about.
Yeah. No, I know you reached out to her, and maybe because I heard stuff from other family members where, like telling me how like they remember like you reaching out and opening up like at like over dinner and stuff, and her literally being like, there's no such thing as anxiety. Anxiety is not real. Depression is real, but anxiety is not real. And it's just from being like, what?
Yeah, I don't know. It was like, because like before, like I think even before reaching out, like I would constantly like beat myself up. I'd be like, no, I just need to get over it. Just deal with it. You're a man, that kind of thing. That mentality was like, yeah, I don't know. And then like over the years, as time went by, things wouldn't change, and like I still just couldn't do those things that I was telling myself, just do it, And like I was like, well, hold on, why is it still like this? All my friends, everyone else in the world has been able to like go off and do these things, and like I'm still here and I'm stuck doing this. I'm like, why is that? I'm like, well, maybe there is like something going on like in my head or something. And like when I started to like think of that, and then that's when I started to like be like, well, maybe is this what anxiety is? Is this like actually it? And like very, very slowly, like over the course of years, that's when I would like, now and then I'd like reach out and be like, there's something wrong, there's just something not right. And like I'd be shut down every time. You're making excuses, you're this and this. And it was like, I just couldn't like get my head around it. And I think, yeah, that's essentially just led to where I am now. I'm just still stuck in the same situation. Still dead. No passions in life.
Oh my goodness. I mean,
Yeah. I think it just kind of exacerbated it, essentially.
I know and can understand. It's unfortunate because I remember, like, you could see it, but unfortunately, like, you can't, like, force someone to go to the doctor and have those conversations.
Yeah. Well,
And because I remember sometimes being like, have you thought about, like, doing this? I go and I talk to a counselor and you can do some things for free. And
I was told, like, go see the counselor, and I was just like, I don't need it. Why do I need it? I'm a man.
yeah, see,
I can
that's
deal with
part
this
of
kind
it.
of stuff.
That's part of it as well, is that the person who's experiencing those things has to be somewhat willing to engage in getting help.
Yeah. And now when I'm willing, it's too expensive.
It's
I can't afford it.
Unfortunately very difficult at the moment. COVID really put an extra, I think, lot of workload,
Yeah.
I guess you could say, in that field of work.
Also, it is on me as well, because, like, my doctor, like, I was told by, like, the staff, like, she wants everyone to, like, go sign up with someone else, like, on the same program or something. I was like, no, I'll wait for her to come back. Unfortunately, she didn't come back, so...
Your situation is crazy. It's so crazy to me.
I was hoping, but unfortunately, didn't.
Because I remember when you told me what happened, I thought you were joking. Because sometimes you say stuff like that, and you're just like, I'm just trolling her. And I'm so gullible. So, like, I didn't believe you when you told me that. And then when I found out it was real, I was like, oh my goodness, what are, like, the chance? You just, in terms of luck, you don't have it. I'm sorry, my friend.
Yeah,
you don't have it.
I remember I was in the middle of a class. It was a music class. And then, like, I got a call, like, the teacher was going around, like, checking everyone's projects. And, like, I was, like, would have been one of the last. So, like, while I was waiting my turn, I got a call. And they're like, oh, you this person? And I'm like, yeah, do you see this doctor? And I was like, yeah. And they're like, sorry to tell you this, but this. I was just like, oh my gosh. That is sucky.
Were you okay?
It was, like, slightly shocking. Like, it was sad to hear. But, like, I wasn't personally acquainted with her. It was, like, I guess, professional. I wish I was a bit more, like, I don't know. There was times when, like, I wanted to, like, ask her about herself. And, like, there was, like, a time when I walked in and she had been crying. And, like, I wanted to be like, oh, are you okay? Like, what's going on? But because of her job, I wasn't, like, sure if it was because of another patient and maybe she'd, like, heard something really sad from them. But I guess, like, from what I know now, it probably wasn't. It was probably her own situation that she had going on.
Yeah, I would say that's fair. I would agree with that.
Yeah. But that class...
It's also not your, like, it's not your position.
Yeah, that's... It's, like, as much as I wanted to, like, as a human, and as a person, interested, like, in this person that I've been talking to, is it my right to say, like, to
it's
talk
not,
about this
yeah,
kind of
it's
thing?
not why you're going there yet. It's a bit inappropriate. You can ask how people are doing, but it's not.
Yeah, like, I do
Yeah.
wish I did, regardless of whether it was the right, quote-unquote, right thing to do or not. But yeah, that's, that class, I ended up dropping out of that one. That's the one I just didn't do anything for afterwards.
The stressful one.
Yeah, it was the stressful one as well, yeah. But just after that, I was like, nah. That's it, I guess.
I also, going back to random thoughts and impressions.
This is the Umineko ending, where we go on tangents for like 6 hours.
Yes. Just
Go
the
on.
ending. We get
I
to
know,
like
go
finally
on,
discuss
go on.
stuff. I liked the concept and the idea of like Rosa being almost all powerful.
Oh, at the end though.
Just being like this beast where it's just like, don't you dare touch my child.
See, that's one of the things I like about Umineko. Is like he can make you like these characters who do detestable things. Like they have these moments where you're like, oh my gosh, it's so cool, it's so epic. Like
True.
like as much as everyone will hate Kenzo, like get it out of the way. What he did is obviously wrong. No one supports that, and if you do, please seek help. But like the character himself was just like he was pretty interesting, I think, and like you understand his circumstances and like what led him to
I
that.
feel like you seem to like really like understand his circumstances a lot more than I did. I am taking out the very bad things.
Yeah,
Like he was still like this. I think as a character,
He
removing
was-
the bad stuff, he was this kind of like crazy scientisty kind of like.
well, he wasn't always
personality
like
type.
that. That's the point. He was like just a normal guy. Unfortunately, he was like roped into the family headship when he didn't want to be. He couldn't live the normal life and marry like the woman that he loved and stuff like that. And then like when he had some form of happiness in his mistress, she passes away, and then he just loses it because like she was the light of his life. Like you remember, it was like he saw everything in grey, and then like once he met her, it's like the world's beautiful and colourful again, just like the Shannon kind of moments.
Oh my goodness, that you actually just reminded me of something. I have like I was talking to someone the other day, so I've like made a new friend, and they were telling me that depression, when you have depression, I haven't looked this up to confirm it, but we were talking about like different mental health issues and problems, and they were describing that like when you have depression, it does something to it can potentially do something to your brain where it actually affects your ability to see color, and that some people see like they do see the world in like black or white and like grayish when they're like super super depressed. So that's an actual thing. So that's like an actual thing. And that person was like, because I think they were like telling me a little bit about themselves, and just like, so basically like when I was depressed, like they had like 2 or 3 years of their life where they like didn't see color.
I can't imagine just not seeing colour. I can imagine like if it's I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. Depression doesn't affect me in that way.
Maybe I just have bad eyesight. Who knows?
It's always something to like talk to your health professional about.
Nah, I'm a man. I can take it.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, I love it.
I feel like we should have comments below for Decky.
No
Tell him
comments.
that the men.
Tell me to
men
man
do-
up.
Men do cry.
Harden up, mate. Drink some concrete.
Oh my goodness. Drink some concrete.
Yeah, have you never heard that?
No.
Drink some cement and harden up, mate. That was that was a thing in high school at least.
It probably was a thing, but I probably didn't hear it.
Yeah, because you're not a dude, I guess.
I didn't want to say it.
Yeah, I guess. I think episode. No, jeez, wow. Grade 10, not episode 10. Grade 10.
Episode 10 of my life chronicles.
This is when I was really getting into Umineko, and there were like some big tests that we did like over the years of high school from grade 10 onwards, and like I would do.
Oh, you mean it'd be like the equivalent of your SATs and stuff?
Yeah, and like for it was like the English ones where you do like stories and stuff. I think even in uni, the stories that I did were all like taking elements of Umineko and putting them into a story.
Interesting.
So, one of the thoughts. So you know when Archie jumps off the building and then it cuts to the scene with Ikuko, and now we know he is Hachijo or Battler on the road. Like you picked up on it, I picked up on it, everyone picked up on it. I just misled you after you picked up on it. But like, yeah, we all realized like, oh wait, this is Battler. He actually survived and stuff like that. And like, I think in university, the first story I did, or like the final story I did was like, for this particular class, I mean, it was jeez, this is damn. I wrote some somber stories. It was like a woman who had like her husband was in a coma, and like she'd been struggling to like survive and like provide for their kid, and like the kid ended up passing away and stuff. It's just like the story of her like jumping off the building, essentially the building of the hospital, after like seeing her husband for one last time. And like as she falls, like she's remembering all like the tough times she's had, and then she gets
This was
to
the
like
story you were writing?
this is the story that I wrote.
Yeah.
And she gets to like she crosses paths with like the room he's in, and his eyes are open, and then as she goes down the rest of the stories, it's like all she remembers all the good times she's had with her husband and family and stuff like that, and then she dies.
Oh, that's not too bad.
I don't think I got marked too well for that.
Really?
Yeah.
I always had like, I've wanted this story I wished I could get, because I would like to like expand upon it, and I felt like it was so good. It probably was terrible. Because you know, like some things I used to like look through my art book and be like, oh, this year was so good, or like that was good.
Yeah.
I got them back this year and I flicked through them and I was like,
Oh my gosh, it sucks.
I'm never letting anybody see this.
Yeah,
This
I
is
did
not
that with a
seeing
lot of
the
things as
light
well.
of day.
I was like, I'm so proud of this drawing. Oh my gosh, what is this? It has 3 noses, 2 left toes.
No one is seeing this, because I think I got it to show some friends and I was like, no.
No, I actually showed people and they were like,
trash.
oh, so you actually do suck. I was like, oh damn.
I had a point, but I lost it. I can't remember where it was going.
My point was going to my final story. It was
Yeah,
about another person committing suicide.
Oh my goodness.
Just the picture of Anji just like jumping off. I think that has really stuck with me.
Like towards, what was it, episode 7? Like that scene where she
Episode
she did
like
the
even
jump?
episode 4 when she like.
Because I know you said that like made you a bit sad. You cried a little bit, shed a tear.
Well, yeah,
two.
it was kind of just the whole scene where it's leading up to it. Like she learns the truth. It was terrible truth, and now she suffers for it. That's kind of what I could say. You're just like, no, Anji, please no.
Don't do it, Auntie. You've got so much to live for. You're so young. You have so much money. Oh my goodness.
Just buy a new family, right?
That is dangerous. A dangerous mentality you got right there, young man.
Alright, we've been going on for a while, so final thoughts. Have you got anything you want to say to anyone, or just about the story? Like, just a quick remark. Did you enjoy it? Did you actually enjoy it? Let me ask
I
you.
did enjoy it, even though it seems like I never want to do recording.
Did you enjoy it for the story, or did you enjoy it because you were with me? Tell me that.
No, I did enjoy the story.
Okay, that's good.
And I do enjoy spending time with you.
Yeah. Because I did feel like somewhere through along the line, I was like, I feel like you're just doing this because you want to spend time with me, not because you actually enjoy the story.
I think
Like, I'm sure that's part of it.
this is okay. So this is where because I didn't really, and we got distracted. I didn't really go into detail about the like why I thought the like too long. It was too long.
No, that's yeah.
Yeah, because no, I like, cause I really got into it, and I would be like, blah, 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 blah.
Yes, I did enjoy the times when you'd be like, "Oh wait, was this?" And I'd be like, "Uh-huh."
And you're like, she's not like that anymore. She hates it. No, I think it was just that it was so long. I think I lost the like momentum that was there.
Yeah. We were definitely shaky with it. We didn't have a proper set schedule. Like, we had a schedule, but even like once a week, ideally I wouldn't have liked that, but that's just how we had to do it because of how busy you are. It's understandable.
Yeah, and I am like at a point in terms of like IRL stuff going on. I'm just tired.
Yeah.
I'm like tired all
It's
the
understandable.
time.
Like, I think a lot of people would give up, like, after episode 2 or something. They're just like, this is just too much, just drags on, kind of thing. Like,
well, that's the thing though, because I do wonder if I would have been able to keep up the. It's a question of like, would I have been able to keep it up, or would it have been something that I ended up dropping? Because when we were watching like Joe Chrono in the beginning, and like seeing how they got through it, I can't remember which one it was. One of them was talking about how when they really got into it, they were like not sleeping and just like binging it as much as possible, and it just being like, oh my goodness, like this is amazing.
I mean, I had those moments too when I was going through it.
Well, yeah, no, I can see that. Like I used to do that in my youth days when I was a young whippersnapper. No, like.
Oh, how about some mackerel?
Sour comes out. Like yeah. Like I don't know, remembering like discovering like an amazing like new Japanese drama or something. I would just be so excited and not sleep. It was not very good. But at the same time, it was amazing and I loved it. And I still have like fond memories of like, I don't know, the first time I discovered Hanayori Dango, or like there's a Taiwanese drama based on a manga called It Started With a Kiss, and it's like so funny and just things that I guess for contact purposes I was like a language major when I was studying, so these were things that not only were interesting pop culture wise, but were potentially tools that I could use to assist with study. Is how I justified spending the amount of time I did on them.
No, I did the same. I was playing like Japanese video games and like, I'll just translate this and this will be my homework and that stuff.
But it was like, yeah, just like so good. So I understand like that concept, and even like sometimes you find a manga that you're just like, I have to know what happens, or it's just like one more chapter, one more episode.
But then so you get to like One Piece and stuff, and those ones you're just like, no, I can't do it. Well, I'm like that at least. It's too long.
There are some things that you just get drained. Just
I think Umineko is one of those things. Like, as much as you like it, it can drain you. There were times when I was drained, and then there was times like even rereading episodes that drained me, where I was like, binged it. I was like, oh, I love this. Even though like in the past, it was like one of the lesser favorite episodes for me.
Yeah. That's true.
I
think we definitely had our moments sometimes as well where it was just like, not today.
Yeah. I don't know how accurate this is. I see people like say it is based on like the I should really look it up, but
and then there were none. Is that
well,
what you're referencing?
it has that, but what's it called? I said it before. Dante's Inferno. The Divine Comedy, I think.
I've never heard of that before.
Pretty sure, yeah. And I think it's the longest work of fiction in the world, from what I'm
What?
aware of.
Really?
Like, it has the most words in it.
Even to this day?
I'm not sure, but it's definitely one of the longest works. I'm pretty sure. And like Umineko being based, supposedly, from what I'm hearing other people say, is being based on that. Like, I don't know, I can give some understanding as to why it's so long as well. Because I think Battler's like Dante. Beatrice is Beatrice. There is a Beatrice
What's
in that
the
one.
synopsis of Dante's Inferno?
I don't know like the official original story. All I know is from a video game. There is a video game called Dante's Inferno.
Yeah.
It's something along the lines of Dante is going through hell, going through like the layers of hell, like the seven sins and stuff like that, to find Beatrice, his wife, maybe.
Wait, actually called Beatrice?
Yeah, it's actually Beatrice. Yeah.
Oh, that's very interesting.
And then you've got like this is one thing that I never would have picked up on, but like Jacreno or Felix, as his name is called, pointed out about, I don't know if you'll remember, but episode 5, that's the one where Battler came back and became the game master, where he got the golden sword and everything. So like he was dead, he was killed by Dillenor, stabbed in the heart, and just hanging there. And like while he was like hanging there, his like internal thoughts and stuff, he was like in the Golden Land, like talking to Dillenor, Virgilia, and stuff like that, and they were kind of like guiding him along, giving him hints and stuff. And then like it goes into him like diving into the sea of fragments and like looking through all the fragments and like finally coming to an understanding of who Beatrice is and like why they did it and stuff like that. And like that's kind of symbolic of like him like actually drowning in real life.
Oh my goodness, I didn't even think of that.
Yeah. So like I would never have thought that. And then like when he picks up on that, I was like, oh my gosh, that's mind blowing. That's amazing.
My brain's still like, what?
Yeah.
No, that's
pretty
such a
cool.
good, that's such a good point.
But yeah, there's heaps of stuff like that in Umineko. There's like plenty that I can't think of right now or that I've just never noticed and stuff as well. But yeah, that's why I enjoy it so much, because it's something I always come back to in my mind. I'm like what's it been? Like over, it's been like 13 years plus, and I'm still thinking about this like story and like some of the messages, or just like, you know.
Was Umineko what kind of how to say, I feel like you seem to have like a bit of a passion for like mystery genre and like detective work and figuring that stuff out. Was
I do
Umineko
not.
No, really?
I definitely had a phase like when I was into it in high school where I was like trying to be the detective and stuff like that. But like,
But you're always trying to problem solve, like the stuff that goes on.
I think it's affected how I view media. Like, I think I've like, this isn't like a bragging thing or anything. I think I'm pretty good at like figuring out what's going to happen in a story, mystery or not. Like once like elements are out, like in, what's the word, introduced, I'm just like, okay, so this is gonna happen with this person, and this is gonna happen later on, and stuff like that. I feel like I actually do a pretty good job of like that. Like Odd Taxi, I figured out most of it in the first episode and stuff like that. It's just like, it's a blessing and a curse. I don't know.
I have to remember to refrain from spoilers for current stuff, because I was just about to be like, you guessed this in Odd Taxi, and I was like, wait a minute, that's like a last episode like revelation. I was like, don't say anything.
I'll cut it out. But are you talking about like how the?
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Did you guess
I mean,
that?
to be fair, it is like obvious. I'm not trying to be like, oh, I'm just so smart. It's so obvious, you know? Like,
I was thinking,
it is actually
I was thinking
obvious.
they were like just like that in a anthropomorphic like.
Okay, so there's a scene it's like one of the very first scenes.
Which I wasn't paying attention in.
You get a flashback, and it shows a different shape, so to speak.
Oh, yeah, it probably was on my phone or something.
Like, it's a silhouette, but it's not quite the same type of shape that your main character would have if he was as he was being presented. And then you got things like the radio host being called. You've got, yeah, I don't know. That's it.
I just thought that it was a thing and everyone was actually...
Well, that's why I figured it out. Because I asked that question. I was like, why are they all... Why is it like this? It's an interesting choice. And then it kind of just clicked. I was like,
really?
Oh,
I was like...
they're not... That's just how someone's seeing it.
See, my brain was like, we're just appealing to the genre. We're catering for all time.
No.
That's where my brain was going.
Well, you never know. Could be like Brand New Animal. You remember that one?
I did enjoy that one.
It was fun. I liked the music.
It was. The music was, yeah, it was really good. I tried to learn the, no, I think I did learn it for a little bit, but I didn't quite get the words. Because I think I karaoke'd it. The opening song?
Yeah,
the opening or the
Night
closing?
Running.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Wait, is the closing, isn't it?
It's one of them.
Yeah. Alright. We should leave it there. After this, perhaps we will do the fighting game. What are your thoughts on that?
We still have to do, oh my goodness, my brain wants to go green eggs and ham. The, steamed hams?
Steamed hams. We could do it all in one go, I guess. Like, steamed ham is only like 10-20 minutes, I think. But yeah, other than that, I was working on another transcription. It was the song when
I mean, I could also do the organ one again.
Well, it's up to you. The one I was gonna do was the scene where Anji and Butler meet, and then he reveals like why he didn't go back to see her.
The one that I was like, oh, this is pretty.
No, that one. Man, one day maybe. If I like properly touch up on piano, then maybe I'll try and learn that one.
Do it.
Yeah. Other than that, channel deletion perhaps. We'll see. Thanks to anyone who's stuck around this long.
Oh yeah, that is what I wanted to say when you were like, is there anything you want to say? Yeah, it's just a thank you for the people who left comments that watched it. It seemed like people got in some sort of enjoyment or entertainment out of it.
Well, it's Umineko. Everyone's going to get enjoyment out of something in Umineko.
Well, I mean, yeah, there's Umineko, but then there's Umineko being like read and badly voice acted by two like Australian siblings.
Yeah, we've had a few like regulars and stuff along the way. Thank you for your comments. And thank
Yeah,
you for
no,
insights and
we-
stuff that I didn't notice.
We see it as well, and if I don't see it, then Decky will be sure to like tell me, and then like go look at it and be like, oh, cool.
Yeah. So after this, yeah, perhaps a few more videos, and then the mace.
Then Decky's going solo.
Well, I don't know. We did talk about this. It might sound like we're joking about like channel deletion, but it was a genuine thing that we were talking about doing, because we have like opened up potentially too far about certain things in our lives. In this recording, even further. There you go. But like, yeah, there was.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say afterwards you're gonna have to do a lot of editing. Like,
Yeah.
I know you do like the bare minimum editing, but I think this
But
is
I
when
will
you
have
actually
to
will
do a
have
lot
to
of editing for this one. Yeah.
edit all my clicks
fine.
out.
But yeah, like even people knocking on my door and like talking to me mid-recording, I was supposed to edit out like a bunch of times, and
There was one that was
I just
really
couldn't.
obvious.
I like would put a mental note. Okay, I can't remember which episode, but there was an episode. I definitely need to get rid of this bit, and then like I would go through the editing, and I would just miss it completely somehow. I don't know if I was asleep while editing or something. Like there were, I think most of the parts like where someone would like interrupt the recording for whatever reason were still in there. So you'd probably have like, me like yelling like, "Go away, Mom! No, we're recording right now. Come on!" Get out." Yeah. Other than that, like other personal like life stories and stuff like that, wouldn't want like loved ones to come across and be like, "Wait, this is how they actually felt." Oh my gosh, I'm very sad now.
It's not so much that it's like hidden feelings, but it's just
It is for me.
oh my goodness. It's just being aware of like
Other people's.
people that are still living and existing, and the consequences of potentially having information on the internet. Got to be somewhat responsible.
I mean,
You
I
know?
doubt there would be many people who would ever know.
But the thing is, you can't.
But
you can't predict that.
You can't know
Yeah.
that, yeah.
Yeah, and this. Yeah.
So, yeah, maybe if the channel goes bye-bye one day, there's your reason. We haven't decided, but yeah, we'll see. There's things that I want to do with Mitz. Like, I want to play Halo with Mitz. I want to play through the whole series of Halo with her. And, like, I would like to do things that Mitz wants to do as well. Unfortunately, I just really hate all of her suggestions. So, I haven't, like, decided on any of them.
This is my like.
I know
life
it's not fair, but I
struggle.
just...
It's my life struggle.
Some of the
It's
things you
like
suggest, I'm just like,
whenever-
I cannot
Whenever it's
see
like
myself
we
doing
need to
this.
pick a movie as like
Yeah.
a family, and it's like we need suggestions, guys. We need suggestions. And I'll be like, what about this one? What about this one?
Nah,
Can we do this one?
nah.
And everyone's like, no, like they just pretty much ignore my suggestions.
I think that's a common thing.
And
but,
then
like,
it comes to like we spend like the amount of time it takes to watch a movie to pick a movie,
decide,
and then it's
and then
like
everyone goes to
something
bed.
something dumb that I don't want to watch, and they're like, well, they weren't suggesting anything, and I'm like, but I said blah 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 blah, and they're like, your suggestions suck. This
Unrailed.
person's not gonna want to watch it. Oh, Unrailed would be so good. We could do Unrailed here.
There
The
you
thing
go.
is, with us though, with the two of us, I feel like we, being siblings, have good. I don't know. This might be reaching. You might disagree. I want to say like somewhat good chemistry when it comes to playing certain co-opting games. So stuff like Overcooked.
Katamari
like,
is one we like genuinely had good synergy in. I think by the
Yes.
end we were like, we didn't even need to say what we wanted to do. We
Yeah,
could
yeah,
just
no,
do it.
that's the thing. Like, I'm
Yeah.
not sure how entertaining that is, or like in terms of challenge. what that's like, but it's just, I don't know, for me it's an enjoyable thing. I like really liked playing Katamari with you and
Yeah, I think
as a kid.
for me, what I want to do with you is like go through stories. Like
Okay.
not necessarily novel stories, but like that's why I suggested Halo because it's a story-driven game.
Yeah.
Despite what you thought previously, there is like an actually decent story to it. And like I would like something similar from your side as well. Unfortunately, all I get is Overcooked and Unreal. So if you can find me a good game to play through, then by all means, like with a good story. That's like why I keep saying, "Oh, I want you to play Persona 5. I want you to play this game and that game."
Let me look at my co-op stuff. But that's the thing though, even like with Overcooked, that's a generally like high stress game for a lot of different people. But I feel like with us, when we've played it, we don't need a whole lot of communication. And we don't
It's just so basic that I'm just like it's
we
just
don't
common sense to do something.
struggle as much.
Yeah.
You will carry me in a lot of stuff, but then at the same time I feel like I do hold my own. As well, I would like to believe. Please back me up on that.
I mean, it's not even necessarily about the gameplay. I wanted to take a break from because you wanted to do Steins Gate, and I was like, oh, we should really have a break from like the visual novel genre after Umineko because it's been such like a long journey and stuff.
Well, I'm currently on my own.
Elden Ring.
No, I was trying to like say the platform, but I was like, no, let's not give the platform away. Like on my own like projects, I'm going through a visual novel called Root Film as well, so I've got to finish that one too.
Yeah.
I've got like the second half, and then I think there's one more like episode, which is probably going to be in 2 parts as well. I don't know whether they split it up. That's the only thing.
Actually, that is a good thing. Anyone who has a suggestion for something we could play together, whether it be on this channel or perhaps a future channel, who knows?
Or maybe we delete. Maybe this just becomes the Umineko channel, and then we'll have another channel.
Yeah, but we don't know what the future of this channel entails. I would still like to do things with you in like, whether it's in this channel or another channel, or like, I don't know, anything else really.
We'll 100% still be doing stuff together.
But what?
Just the where. It's the where. Yeah. Really.
Yeah, I guess just let us know what you guys think if you've stuck around this far. I can't imagine anyone will actually go through all of this, but if you have, thank you, and leave your feedback and comments like what do you think we should do, what do you think we should play, read, watch, just become a react channel perhaps. I don't know.
I would like to know, this is what I would like to hear from viewers, is just like comment your experience on what it's been like, because this has been a long
experience with Umineko or with us? With
Umineko on the channel, with us.
Oh, it was dreadful. Mitz didn't react properly when this scene happened. She made a joke.
Did I drive everyone
when Angie
insane?
revealed the truth? Something like that.
Wouldn't let go of Steins Gate Maria without time traveling.
Oh my goodness. Well, there you go. It never happened. Your theory was proven incorrect.
Look, you can't say we didn't have our own memes. All the times, like, I started falling asleep. When I'm pretty sure at the beginning we were like, yeah, if we do this, I won't fall asleep. We'll be able to get through it way easier. And there's times where Decky looks over and he's just like, oh.
Line.
Wake up.
Have you, like, how much have you been falling asleep since we've been doing, like, the 1 a week online calls as opposed to the in-persons?
It hasn't been too bad recently.
Yeah. Because I feel like in person you fell asleep a lot.
Do you know what we should do? I should record myself playing this game, and then as we're chatting, this should just be playing in the background.
Why?
Why not? Because I don't know what it is, but this game you say is like boring.
I'm getting sleepy just thinking about it.
It actually helps keep me awake.
I think you just need something to stimulate your brain.
Probably.
Perhaps.
Maybe.
So you should do some maths equations.
Ew, no, I will have to think for that.
Exactly.
I can't multitask in that sort of capacity.
Just
I need to have something that I can like leave it to
And then
focus
Anji
on
says,
like reading.
8 times 8.
Oh, can you imagine? And it's wrong. Looking at the times table's wrong. Oh, it'd be pretty funny.
Alright, we'll leave it there. Thanks again. Till next time, perhaps.
Yes, good job to Deki. Props to Deki for doing all the editing.
Oh my gosh, you're just
channel
making this
management.
episode even longer. The editing. Oh my computer. My poor computer.